use it in a shorter area like this. This time it's even shorter than usual because I have no reason to light the sconces for the secret room. After the entrance area, we don't need to kill any of the enemies in the hall. We can sprint past them and save all our durability for the Guardian Dragon. Thankfully, this is a weak boss with low physical defenses and not much health, but I still wouldn't recommend using a katana against any boss in this game without repair powder in your hotbar. Before moving on to the next level, we first return to Majula to claim some levels as per usual. We need to go back to Brightstone Cove to farm the falconer closest to the bonfire until he drops a sunlight medal. This is just a demonstration. Obviously, I'm not farming all 20 medals ever again now that I have Cheat Engine, so we'll spawn them in and save a few hours in the process. After offering all of those to the statue, we get the Sun Sword as a reward, aka the Sunlight Straight Sword we all know and love from the first game. Dragon Eyrie is full of upgrade materials, so I don't see why we wouldn't go ahead and max it out with how easy Titanite slabs are to get in this game. Here, we can get some of the coolest fashion in the game, which is still true even in the sequel where it has much more competition. After we've passed the test, we may proceed down the path of the dragon, where we must decide if we are to keep walking the path before us, or defeat the so-called ancient dragon and make our own path. Though it may not be the easiest path, the choice is obvious. Anastasia must not leave behind any loose ends if she is to shed her curse and begin anew. The Sun Sword has a wide variety of attacks to choose from to help in a fight like this. Since I've gotten better at dodging the fire over time, I prefer to fight it from the front since the stomp tends to be an insta-kill move for most builds. The Sun Sword has a lot of potential in this fight. Both the one-hand and two-hand movesets have thrusting options, which could be useful for reaching the head. I still found it to be too annoying trying to catch it, so I went for the front toes for more consistent damage. It does have a few bite attacks with its head, but they seem to be fairly rare. Usually it would just jump back and proceed to spam the fire breath no matter where I was. The best way to dodge the fire breath depends on your position relative to the dragon's. I would say that if you're hitting the legs, either the back or front legs, use the tail following strategy. But if it flies up when you're attacking its head, run as far away from it as you can until the dragon is a good distance behind you. But be careful. If you're too indecisive and don't run fast enough, you will get caught in it no matter what. I did die to this a few times, but thankfully my weapon wasn't that bad. I'm actually well prepared for a weapon like this since it is a quality weapon. Getting my levels evenly always works out. I can't forget to mention the gold pine resin as well. While not as effective as it is against true dragons, it was still a big help for this fight. We are once again distributing our levels evenly, only this time, we'll try to get our magic all caught up with the other stats. While we work on that, we'll swap back to melee weapons for the remaining base game bosses. I have just enough Twinkling Titanite on me to get one more special weapon to +4. I have chosen to use the Black Knight Ultra Greatsword to clear out the giant memories. There's not a whole lot for me to do here aside from getting the giant souls, but we do have the steel set in case we want some variety with our heavy armor. Once we've collected everything we need, we just have to defeat the Giant Lord to claim the final soul of a giant. Big weapons are always fun to use against him. It's super satisfying to see his health come off in chunks. I also love the explosiveness that fire weapons have in this game, especially with an Ultra Greatsword like this one. You can just feel the impact of every hit. The rewards are great for a fight as simple as this one. We can get 4 more levels from the souls dropped from the fight, and use the boss soul to buy out Cloanne's petrified dragon bones. Now that our Chaos Blade is nearly max level, and all 5 giant souls have been collected, we can turn our attention towards Vendrick. Anastasia desperately clinging to Aldia's words, as one who also seeks answers. The Chaos Blade cuts deep into his exposed skin, but sadly won't bleed him out as it does in the other games. That hardly matters with how much physical damage it does in just a couple slashes. If I didn't have to worry about dodging and could use all my stamina to attack him, that number would be even higher, somewhere around 1,000 damage for 3 or 4 slashes. I got good RNG with him and managed to keep him away from the corners, so I can stay in the blind spot behind his left leg. Eventually, I got myself into RTSR range just from using the sword without needing to heal. I was hoping that I could kill him in a single health bar, but I couldn't take the risk with how well things were going. The Cursed King falls by the cursed sword, a fitting fate for an undead. As we prepare to approach the throne, we put some points into attunement, Then we head back to the things betwixt to trade for the other Dark Souls weapon in their inventory, the Channeler's Trident. You could never get this kind of luck in the first game. Anyways, as I checked off the list of weapons I made, I noticed that I would need to fight the Old Iron King again to access one of them, so we'll do that, get the Old King's Soul, and make the Dragon Slayer Greatbow with Ornifex. With all these new weapons to choose from, I settled with one of the Black Knight weapons I already had for the Throne Duo, the Greatsword. This one is very different from its Dark Souls version. Fire damage aside, the moveset has been changed as well. I don't mind that though. Even though the Dark Souls version of the weapon is stronger, I think this one has a really fun moveset. I was using the two-handed moveset for this particular fight, and while this moveset isn't unique to this weapon, I think it's a fitting choice. Going into stance after each swing evokes the knightly confidence that the proud knights of Gwyn once had. Though the Black Knight weapons have lost their original purpose, with no demons of chaos to slaughter in Drangleic, they have been born anew from the flames, and granted a new purpose. Anastasia is no different. Her link to the fire has been severed, and she too questions her purpose in this strange land. And so, without hesitation, she challenges Nashandra, but she was so eager to get to the throne that she forgot to upgrade her trident. Dying gives us an excuse to go back and upgrade it, but Nashandra can be a pushover if you're too strong, so I'd rather take the challenge and leave it as it is. We have some help from the old Leo ring, and we have the special attack that will buff us for a brief time, emphasis on brief. There was a time when I could look at this dance and laugh, but now I've been permanently damaged from the one-shot challenge. The only problem with the buff is how much durability it uses, so we can only use it a couple times before breaking the trident. I did bring some repair powder, but remember, switching to your second trident is always faster than repairing. With that done, we can now buy infinite Titanite chunks from Cloan, which is important for going into the DLC. We could fight Aldia now, but I'd rather save him for last. That way, we can take a little break to get some levels before we explore the DLC areas. Unfortunately, our next weapon, the Monastery Scimitar, will require an indefinite amount of farming. I say indefinite because it is a rare drop from a non-respawning enemy in Aldia's Keep that only spawns at bonfire intensity 2 and above. Since the drop is RNG based and I have to kill the Guardian Dragon every time I don't get the weapon, and I've done the farm legit in another run, I am going to spawn the sword in if it takes more than a couple tries because I know how ridiculous this can get. In addition to the weapon, individual pieces of the monastery set can drop from this phantom as well. This is another personal favorite of mine. It's a shame how obscure it is in this game. A few rounds of trying for the scimitar gets us quite a few levels. We have enough to level several stats, but the one with the most immediate benefit is Dex, since this weapon has such good scaling. Now we can go to Shulva and see how it fares against the enemies of the Sanctum. While it's lost some of its original moveset, we can still access the sword dance if we use it in one hand. This move is definitely spammable against certain types of enemies, but I'd be wary of using it too much against the Sanctum Knights. They have the poise to tank this and a two-handed heavy attack, and tend to respond with their own combos if you get too greedy. But when we do manage to clear out this room, we're rewarded with our first piece of the Katarina set so far, the iconic Onion Helm. Obviously I can't pass this up, so we're going to wear it as we go through the rest of the dungeon. I think our scimitar needs one final touch before challenging Alana. I haven't been investing in intelligence for nothing, so let's take advantage of her weakness to magic with Crystal Magic Weapon. After using the soul items we have stocked up, we now meet the 28-point requirement to attune the spell. We only get one use with our amount of attunement though, so we have to use it wisely. With Alana, it's probably better to go the maximum DPS route. As much as I love the graceful combos of the one-handed strong attack, the damage is easily outclassed by simple two-hand light attack combos. I was getting good RNG for once. She was already down to half health and had only summoned skeletons so far. So of course I squandered this trying to do who knows what by mashing into her combos. But Lady Luck was merciful today. I got one more chance to kill her without any Velstots. This time, not taking the good luck for granted. The sword dance makes for a nice finisher, and from here, we can start preparing for Sin. For this, I want something with big damage, like the Zweihänder. It could be argued that the Zweihänder originated in Demon Souls because of how similar it is to what was called the Greatsword in that game. in this game it's actually called a Zweihänder, and in that game it isn't, so I'll allow it. I seem to be in a magic mood today. First buffs, now infusions. I have to be able to say that I used infusions at least once in this run. I don't want to have lifted the ban on infusions for nothing. A giant sword is a logical choice against a dragon, and for Sin in particular, I don't mind the heavy weapons as much, because the durability is easier to keep track of when the combos are shorter. Even the Zweihänder breaks easily in this game, even if it doesn't seem like it would. After just a few swings, it already needs to be repaired. I continue to be my own biggest obstacle in this fight because I still can't help but to attack into him every time he does something. But surely if I do it enough times, it has to work at least one of those times, right? Well, I guess it's time for everyone's favorite gank squad. I've brought the Dragon Tooth to this fight because it specializes in pancaking player-type enemies. The heavy damage is also helpful in general when you've got 3 things to deal with at once. Like anything else, it obviously has its weaknesses too, which are unfortunately showcased just as prominently in this fight. Big weapons have a mind of their own when locked on in this game and will go in the direction they feel like going. I almost wish I hadn't survived this. At least it would have been less depressing than the fumble it led to. I was too scared of being punished to heal and froze up for no reason until I decided it would be a better idea to throw out a random R1, which of course her katana easily countered. But now we know exactly what to do when it's our turn to bully our fellow Dragon Tooth warrior. Now that we're finally free from the Cave of the Dead, we get to switch weapons and move on to Broom Tower. My weapon of choice for this area is the Butcher's Knife, a very chipped version of the one Mildred uses in the first game. Even though the Rotten clearly did not take very good care of this thing, the knife still retains its life-stealing effect, which is a big reason I chose it for this area. There's a lot of rooms where the enemies are very densely packed together. We may lose a lot of health to them, but at the same time, attacking into them lets us get a lot of it back, so it's a good trade. The last thing I want to do before we fight the first boss is find the other pieces of the Katarina set hiding in here. I couldn't remember which wall it was behind, so I just blew them all up. One of them has 8 petrified dragon bones, which is actually very helpful since I still needed a couple for the Butcher's Knife to be +5. Now that we've gotten everything we needed from this area, let's head down to the bottom of the tower to challenge the Fume Knight. The Butcher's Knife isn't a bad option here. The damage is high, and the lifesteal mechanic will be very helpful as the fight progresses. Being an axe, its range isn't the best thing in the world, but whiffing isn't as punishing as it was in the first game. Thank God we don't stumble anymore, because that would be really rough with his frame-perfect dodges. He will punish us for healing, of course, but we can exploit that behavior for a big punish window. This was a fun fight to do with the Butcher's Knife. I can see why Mildred enjoyed her line of work so much. You can't help but play with your food a little when you use this. With the Fume Knight's help, we should have plenty of souls to upgrade our Pyromancy Flame and get some spells to use against the next boss. We're using Pyromancy because this Smelter Demon is blue to let you know that it does magic damage instead of fire this time. Along with the standard fire-based Pyromancies, I'll be using both Poison and Toxic Mist since it can be poisoned. I'm not going to be too strict about whether or not these should count as Demon Soul spells, because Pyromancy as a discipline was not a thing in that game. So if you really wanted to, you could argue that the Firestorm Pyromancy is from Dark Souls, and I technically couldn't say you were wrong. But enough about Demon Souls, we're here to fight the Blue Smelter Demon. From how it's going so far, I don't think the fight itself will be very hard. But it'll suck if I have to do it again, because it sure as hell isn't easy getting here without a melee weapon. I need to manage my spells well, because I don't have the herbs to bail me out if I cast too carelessly. It only takes 1 cast each of Poison and Toxic Mist to poison it, but it has to stay in the cloud long enough, otherwise it won't work. I decided to use my fire spells first while it's easier to damage it, and save the poisoning for the second phase when it buffs itself. Despite everything, I still didn't manage to kill it with Pyromancy alone and had to use the Pyromancy Flame as a weapon. I'm getting deja vu from this. That leaves us with one more boss in the Broom Tower, Sir Alon. For him, I'm going to pick up the Avalon from the Undead Crypt, which is hidden in this room right here behind an illusory wall which, I'll be honest, I completely forgot existed until I checked the wiki again. When we have it, we can use whatever we have left to buy some lightning bolts. 300 of them will do. It's very tempting to try RTSR here, but I feel like it's not really worth it with how nerfed the damage boost is. especially with how difficult it is to time a shot and not get killed during the reload animation. If we hit all 3 of our bolts, our damage will still be okay even without RTSR, but we need to be patient and accept the fact that it could be a bit of a longer fight than usual. I expected this to be a lot worse than it actually was. The key is to keep circling behind him to prevent him from immediately doing a follow-up. I got hit a lot while reloading, but had enough healing items to outlast him regardless. Before we go to the final DLC, we're backtracking a bit to get some weapons we missed earlier. I forgot to pick up one of the Black Knight weapons when I was in Iron Keep, so I have to get that. And I was reminded of something else I had forgotten about when I was using the Avalon, which is the Hawk Ring. We really don't want to forget about that, considering that the next weapon I plan to use is the Hunter's Blackbow. We're going to go through Frozen Aleum Lois as an archer who primarily uses fire arrows. It seems fitting to pit fire against ice. As an archer, we never want to get too close to our enemies if we can help it. We advance slowly and let them approach us 1 or 2 at a time. Usually what I would do is establish a safe area to retreat to when things got overwhelming. If I was far away enough, many of the enemies would stop pursuing, and I could aggro them again as I pleased. When I diverged from this strategy and got too cocky with my archery, I was humbled very quickly. Using bows against Ava actually gives us an advantage, because we don't have to worry about our weapon taking extra damage. I also find it easier in general to fight her with a ranged weapon because it negates the whole running away problem. Somehow she still found ways to evade my arrows at point blank, but everything ended up fine in the end because she once again couldn't help herself from running away from me when she could have finished the job then and there. As we backtrack through the town, we can kill this thawed-out mimic for the final piece of the Katarina set. And as you can see, I've already switched to the Black Knight Great Axe for the remaining portion of the level. For now, we're just doing some preparation for the Ivory King by getting all the Lois Knights. We'll fight him in a little bit. I actually want to do the Frigid Outskirts first. As I've established, I can use the torch to open this door because it's the only way to access a key item. As much as I wish I had an excuse to ignore this place, but this armor's not just for show. We have to play the part of the brave Katarina Knight if we are to be worthy of wearing it, even if we must face the most terrifying beasts amidst the blinding blizzard. Just so we're on the same page, I'm referring to the reindeer, not the king's pets. I brought a fire weapon hoping it would make my life a little easier, but forgot that the durability gets completely drained in about 5 hits, which is really annoying because I have to spend my openings using repair powder instead of punishing. The more I think about it, the more mean-spirited the healing part feels. Was this really necessary? But now that it's over with, I can finally realize the plan I've had for the Ivory King since the start of the run. That's right. We're going to get the majestic greatsword for an epic battle between left-handed swordsmen. I know there's no rule that says I can't use the standard right-handed moveset, but the left-handed moveset is so much cooler and much more reminiscent of Artorias, so I always gravitate towards it when I use this weapon. It also gets a unique moveset when two-handed from the left side, which I of course forgot to do, but the left-handed strong attack is still great. It staggers enemies quickly and does a lot of damage to the Ivory King and his knights. Me and my friend here were able to get to the king without any problems. I guess I really lucked out this time because this particular knight had hardly taken any damage up to this point. That and the fact that the Ivory King was only aggressing me contributed to the knight lasting an unusually long time, nearly to the end of the fight. When the knight died, it made me look bad in comparison because I was barely holding my own when left to my own devices. With the rulers of all the Lost Kingdoms slain, it's time to finally face Aldia and make our decision as he wants us to do. This is off topic, but I've put on a few pieces of the Dark set to make a cool Dark Lord looking outfit. I got most of those off camera. Anyways, I checked my list and it looks like I have 2 more weapons left that I can use, so I decided to use them both. We have the Sorcerer's Staff and the Dragonslayer Greatbow, but our extra range isn't going to make much of a difference in this fight since he buffs himself the whole time. As always, it's not an eventful fight, but not too much of a hassle to get done, and with this, it's time for Anastasia to make her choice. Disenchanted with the Firelink prophecy after her abrupt reawakening in Drangleic, she has chosen to walk the unknown path, for she once had no legs at all and hadn't the luxury of agency. She sets out seeking a new purpose after being stripped of her old one. Perhaps she will find the true nature of the essence, which still eats away at her soul, Or perhaps she will find, as Aldia puts it, something else entirely. Thank you all for watching this video. I appreciate that you watched all the way to the end, and I hope you enjoyed yet another themed playthrough of Dark Souls 2. If you liked this video, feel free to suggest an idea for the next one, or you can check out the videos I already made about the Souls series. This will be the final video of 2025, and I must say, it was a fun year for making videos. It's around Halloween again, and this year I want to celebrate with a special themed run. All we have to do is defeat bosses while in costume. Of course, I'll change costumes for every Remembrance boss, and try to keep each one as accurate as possible. As for the costumes themselves, just like on Halloween, they mostly consist of typical monsters like zombies and witches, but I've thrown in a few less conventional costumes that I think will make fun builds, as well as a couple of Elden Ring specific ones. To make it easier, I've put them all in alphabetical order and will be going down the list for the main bosses. We don't have many rules to discuss, so let's start the run. This time I started out as an astrologer because of the way I've planned out the run. First, I'm headed to Celia Crystal Tunnel to get to Caelid quickly, as there are a couple things I need to get there. Before I do anything else, I put a few levels into Intelligence. From here, I pick up the Faithful's Canvas Talisman, so I don't have to do it later. Then I think it's time for us to leave this terrible place, since the mini-boss is clearly not happening right now. In the Swamp Ruins, we'll pick up the Meteorite Staff from the corpse hanging out the window. As one must always do in Elden Ring, I rush to both forts for both halves of the Dectus Medallion, as well as the Sword Seal. Also, as I do this, I'll be sure to pick up any upgrade materials like Sacred Tears and Golden Seeds, but I'll be doing that off camera. There's no need to show every single flask upgrade. Once I've gotten my Physic and reached Fort Height, it's time to make our way towards the Grand Lift. This means we need to jump around Stormville Castle and go through the entirety of Liurnia until we make it to the end. Thankfully, this area is very generous with its teleporters. Alright, since I've gotten this far, it's probably time to explain what I'm doing here. I want to open up the DLC as early as possible so we have more options in the way of costumes. So I want Radahn to be the first Shardbearer we kill in this run. Because of this, I rushed to Altus to trigger the Radahn Festival without doing Ronnie's quest. The first creature on the list we're dressing up as is an alien, so I want all the space-themed spells I can find. Technically, any type of sorcery would do since it all originates from the cosmos, but I'm looking for the ones that specifically have things like star or comet in the name. Meteorites and gravity spells could also work, that just wasn't the theme I wanted for this particular alien. Naturally, the spells I have in mind require lots of intelligence. Starter spells just won't do for an intelligent life form like us. Once we've gotten some levels from Grail, we can work on collecting the spells we'll need for the Radahn battle. These are both tied to Selen's quest, so we'll speak with her after we find Master Azure to get the Sealbreaker, use it, then get Stars of Ruin from Lusat. We have an uneventful fight with one of the many Erdtree avatars for our magic shrouding tier, and as we continue exploring Liurnia, we'll pick up the Glintstone Key so we can get all the gear we need from inside the Academy. Behind the illusory wall, we can get Comet and the Graven School Talisman, both of which will be fitting for an alien costume. Lastly, I need the actual costume part of the build, and we'll need to go all the way to Volcano Manor for that. Now we sneak up behind the Omen Killer and claim our Albinoric mask. It might as well just be an alien mask. It looks just like the stereotypical gray alien, doesn't it? I could have changed my character's skin to gray, but decided not to because I didn't want to look like I was just dressing up as an Albinoric, though that would be a good costume on its own, I'm sure. Most of the armor that looked futuristic or alien-like was locked behind late-game content, so I had to settle with simply looking weird. So I went to the Seethwater Cave to pick up the mushroom set because I think it would be fitting for an alien to have some strange growths on their body that you wouldn't see on terrestrial creatures. It fits the lore, in a way, since the mushrooms are a product of the Scarlet Rot, which is itself a product of an outer god, which is basically an alien. As all mages do, I've neglected Vigor in order to reach the intelligence requirements for the spells I'm using. I don't plan to ignore Vigor for the whole run, but since I'm starting out with a very powerful setup, I'm sticking to a glass cannon build to balance it out. As you can see, if I were good at dodging and or could tank more than an attack or two, the red wolf would be dead with just a few charged comments. I chose to mix it up just a little and throw in Star Shower every now and then. That one's also harder for bosses to dodge. After this fight, I'll focus on my health a little bit, but I still need more intelligence to use Comet Azure, even with the intelligence boost I get from the Crystal Tier. The Putrid Avatar in Dragon Barrow is a very easy way to get a lot of souls early on. It's tougher than the others, but a tree is still just a tree. And once you've memorized its moveset, it won't be hard to kill it even with a weaker character. All that we need to do now is head back to Caelid and join the festivities. I would say this is around the regular level to fight Radon, but since I've pretty much dedicated all of my levels to damage, I still felt like I could be a glass cannon here. I really want to hit him with the funny laser, but it's a very situational spell that is way too risky for the majority of enemies, especially ones that move around as much as he does. Instead, I used it for Margit so I could go ahead and equip a second talisman. The real fight's not until later, so there's no need to feel bad about cheesing him. There is really no need to use this spell at all for Radon because my other two spells do enough damage to get him well below half health before he jumps into the air. But I used it anyway, started panicking when it didn't kill him, and threw away a guaranteed victory. It's a fun little gimmick spell, but I'm not going to sabotage myself again, so I stuck with boring old Comet and Stars of Ruin. I really like that Stars of Ruin will align for you when locked on even if you're on Torrent facing the opposite direction. Not all spells work this well. Until Mikola comes to undo all our hard work, we can relax for a moment and claim some levels from Radon. Our next Halloween costume is going to be a Banshee. Simple but effective build that needs only one attack. All a Banshee needs to do is scream. We'll need to get the Beast's Roar Ash of War from Gurunk, so let's focus on that first. He'll only give it to us after we collect 5 death roots from the various spooky scary skeletons across the map. For the outfit, a simple dress will do. We'll get the Finger Maiden dress for the cloak, then find a hood to go with it. The bloodstains also work well for the Banshee costume, as Banshees are associated with impending death, so it certainly fits that ominous role. We can slap the Beast Roar skill on a dagger and it will still do decent damage. Apparently this skill doesn't scale with AR, but rather with weapon upgrade level and dexterity. For that reason, I'll give my dagger the Keen affinity to boost its dex scaling. To get the hood, I'm traveling to the Sage's Cave to pick up the Black Hood from a chest. The Astrologer starting class does come with a hood, but it doesn't obscure as much of the face as the Black Hood does, and I want to capture the shrouded look as much as I can with the gear currently obtainable. Lastly, we'll have a screaming match with the Troll, get our Roar medallion for the damage boost, and now we've got everything we need to fight our next Remembrance boss. Renala's the one I've chosen to face next because she's very important for a run like this that requires me to swap out gear constantly. I want to have the option to respec before I get too far in. Having a dagger is useful for the first phase to disable the singing without wasting any FP, and you don't have to actually kill them, just a quick little warning slash will shut them up. I have a feeling that it'll take a while to kill Renala in the first phase, but at least Beast Roar is FP efficient for the damage it does. Plus, it uses exactly all of the FP we have, so not a single blue flask has to go to waste. The second phase won't be so bad since she's very vulnerable to staggers. I wasn't sure if I would have enough FP to do this, but I did have some Starlight Shards to save the day so I wouldn't be stuck chipping her with the dagger. This part wasn't very difficult, but it was very annoying that she kept running away and summoning every time I got a small opening in between the spell span. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, so it's best we start getting some vigor because we will need it. For our next costume, we will be a cat. Not a monster, but a mischievous little creature. Cats are often associated with Halloween, for better or worse, so it still goes with the theme of the run. We're gonna need a good mask for our cat costume, so we're headed down to the Murkwater Catacombs to farm one from the imps. After that, we'll just need a couple pieces of the first set, which thankfully has a much better drop rate than the Imp Head. Like I said before, I'm trying to get to the DLC early, so the next Remembrance boss I'd like to fight is Moog, so I have lots of preparation to do. After killing Eleonora and getting the Purifying Tear, I'm going to try to defeat the Draconic Tree Sentinel so I can get some things from Langdale. I have just about had it with this guy's input reading BS, so I'm upgrading the claws to plus 15 just for him. We can get some vigor and go through the level like a real cat. This would definitely be a fun place for a cat to explore. After a long day of hunting imps on the roof, you can climb up dragons and giant trees. How lovely it is to be a simple cat with no worries. The main reason I came to the capital was to kill Goldfree and get my last talisman pouch. In doing this, I also got enough vigor to take off the Soar Seal. Sure, a cat likes to climb up high and perch on the branches up above, but they also love to stalk the sewers down below and take care of the rat problem in the city. I don't think the inhabitants of the sewers wanted any competition for food sources, though. Defeating Mini-Moog may not be necessary, but it's good practice for the first phase of the real fight. Although, if you really don't want to do it, you can open the chest without fighting him. At least it'll give us some extra levels before the real fight, which I used on Endurance this time, since claws rely on high stamina for high DPS. Speaking of claws, I'm also going to pick up the Claw Talisman to boost our jump attacks, and since I'm only relying on physical damage, I suppose the Axe Talisman for charged attacks wouldn't hurt either. As I collected upgrade materials, I went all the way down to the Eternal City to have a cat fight with the Mimic Tier. The Mimic Tier was surprisingly formidable this time around. The bleed buildup on the claws is very powerful if your opponent tries to outspam you, and I got a chance to see it firsthand. I almost forgot about the Winged Sword Insignia. This is a must-have for any type of fist or claw weapons. Alright, I think we should be ready for Moog now. You'd be surprised by how far you can upgrade a single weapon without going to the mountaintops. All of his attacks will now scatter blood flame across the arena, so if you try to escape, he can easily put you in a blender with how quickly the meter goes up. I tried to use the stance breaking tier to stagger him as much as I could in the first phase, and hopefully cancel out a good portion of the health he gets back from knee healing. But even if you don't get him to bleed out during the phase transition, there's no need to get discouraged. If you keep close and capitalize on all your openings, he'll bleed out and be right back at half health. We are a cat, so the best thing we have is our pouncing ability. With the Claw Talisman, it's especially powerful, and it also immediately activates the Winged Sword Insignia for an added bonus on top of that. Despite all the jump attacks, I never managed to stagger him in Phase 2, but keeping up the pressure made it easy to bleed him out multiple times. Finally succumbing to his wounds, our prey collapses in a fiery pool of his own blood, leaving the entrance to the Land of Shadow unguarded. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We still haven't even killed Morgott, so let's claim these levels and head above. The next monster on the list is a devil, or the devil, which is me. Now that we've defeated Moog, the most important aspect of our costume, the Trident, can now be traded for his remembrance. The Inquisitor's Girandol would be another good option, but the Mooglin's Sacred Spear is too perfect to pass up. You can tell how demonic it is just from looking at it. I got the horns already from farming ancestral followers. Now I just need the Fire Monk armor to really get that devil look down. We'll be engaging in some devilish activities by assassinating the Tarnished Warriors for the Volcano Manor quest. Once we've shown our resolve, Patches will give us a special request to kill Tragoth. Am I crazy or did it just shrink? Okay, Tragoth is taken care of. We got what we wanted, which is his armor, specifically the greaves. The pointed toes are the closest thing I could find to hoof-like armor in this game. Unfortunately, these greaves are very heavy, but since this build doesn't use all the talisman slots, we can go to Caelid to challenge the Jar Duelist to get the special talisman from the Great Jar. I chose the one that looked the weakest first, but appearances can be deceiving. No matter, I'm also a master in the art of deception. In fact, trickery is the only way I know to achieve victory. Once I've gotten the Great Jar's arsenal, I go back to Langdale to get my last costume piece, which is Alberish's bracers. Hey, this costume is looking really good. This may be the most cohesive one yet. In any case, we've got our costume ready for Morgoth, but before that, I want to get a few quests out of the way before progressing to the mountaintops. After talking to Ronnie and all of her companions, I set out to get the final touches for my devil build. We get the flame-shrouding cracked tear from the Kaled tree avatar, and finally, we go back to Mount Gelmir to grab the fire scorpion charm before we challenge Morgoth. We're probably a little over-leveled for this, but even if that weren't the case, our build would still be very effective against Morgoth since he's susceptible to bleed and weaker to fire damage. He also staggers very easily, which we can exploit even more with the cracked tear. As he starts puking, we get a free chance to knee heal since we have enough health to tank through the AoE. Overall, this was an easy fight with the devil setup, but even so, his attack patterns provided enough of a challenge for it to not feel totally one-sided. It's time for a change of clothes. Next up is a dragon. Just as Yura says, a dragon is as fearsome as it is majestic. Perfect for a Halloween costume. This was a hard costume to put together. Somehow, with all of the armor in this game, there isn't a single helmet that truly looks like a dragon head. Obviously with the DLC, you have items that can turn you into a dragon, but one of them requires beating a main boss, and the other I forgot about at the time of doing this. Either way, I prefer to do it the old-fashioned way and put together a scuffed dragon costume. I feel like turning into a dragon would be cheating. I was having trouble finding a helmet I was happy with. I tried the marionette helm since the beak could almost look like a dragon, but it didn't really work, and the bloodhound helm didn't quite do it either. While I think about what to wear, I can start collecting the other things I'll need, like spells and weapons. The Dragon Communion Seal is an obvious choice for this build, and for the spells, I decided to use ones that deal physical damage since they will also conjure either draconic limbs or a head, which adds to the illusion we're trying to achieve with our costume. While I have plenty of arcane for Dragon Communion spells, I haven't touched Faith at all, so I'll need to pick up some Faith boosting gear to make up for it. Even though I couldn't find any armor that looked like claws, it doesn't matter because I've opened the DLC, so I can kill this first NPC to get the beast claws. These are purely cosmetic. I don't intend to use them to attack. Sadly, we can only have one claw when wielding the Sacred Seal, but it still looks pretty cool. I finally decided what helmet to wear. It ended up being the Banished Knight helm since it has a dragon on top of it. I figured that was close enough. I also kept on the Bull Goat Greaves since the pointed feet slightly resemble claws. I did level my Faith slightly, but since it still wasn't enough, I went to pick up Marika's Scar Seal. Godric is much weaker than us, so we want to give him at least a small chance to beat us. So we're fighting him with an unupgraded seal to compensate for being almost level 100. But the boss I fought in a dragon costume had to be him. How else will we decide who wore it better? Despite my attempts to hold back, I couldn't contain my power like I'd hoped to. Perhaps hitting him with the debuff first was a bit too harsh. Dragon Maw is literally biting chunks out of him, and our damage is so high that it cancels out the extra defense he gets upon transitioning to Phase 2. Try as he might, he couldn't escape the jaws of death. That wasn't much of a fight, so I'm going to stay in my dragon costume a bit longer while I take care of some mini-bosses. Commander O'Neill was also a joke. But after all the pain he's put me through, he could never make me feel bad for him. So I purposely took the riposte with the unupgraded Beast Claw to rub it in. Now we can get Millicent's quest started. There's a lot of useful items down the line, and we'll also get extra chances to use our dragon build as we defeat mini-bosses. Let's not forget to finish Sellen's quest. I'll be needing the Eccentric set for later. I don't really need any of her spells, but I'm buying them anyway to turn her into a ball because it's funny. After acquiring the first half of the Halig Tree Medallion, I'm going to upgrade my Sacred Seal as much as I can before taking on Commander Nile. Hopefully we can make this fight as painless as the first Commander fight was, but I have a feeling I'll have no such luck. At least damage doesn't seem like it'll be a problem. I just can't get too careless in the beginning when his minions are still alive. It did take a couple of tries, but this fight didn't end up being so bad after all. To get a head start, I would run up to him as fast as I could and start roaring while the minions are still spawning in. Once they materialize, they don't have any iframes and will be staggered instantly. If you're lucky, you can get both of them in a single cast. The range is fairly large, and it also lasts a long time, so even if you only get one with the initial blast, the other is sure to follow. As for the commander himself, just focus on your spacing, and you should get a chance to use Dragon Maw at the end of his combos. Dragon Maw has good hyper armor and can tank through some of his attacks, so I'd say this trade was more in my favor. With the second half of the medallion in our possession, I'd say it's about time we swap costumes. I'm taking some inspiration from the Dark Souls Bell Gargoyles, of course, so for my weapon I've chosen a halberd, which will be used alongside crucible spells to represent the gargoyle's wings and tail. Obviously, the halberd we'll use is none other than the gargoyle's halberd. We'll need to kill the Stormhill Crucible Knight for the aspects of the Crucible Tail incantation. Once we've done that, we need to go back to the Lands of Shadow to take the Spirit Spring to Shadow Altus. There, we'll find Black Knight Edred waiting for us in the fort. If we can manage to defeat him, we'll get the aspects of the Crucible Wings skill to put on our halberd. Even with nearly 60 vigor, with such a low shadow blessing, he's bound to do ridiculous damage, just like every other enemy in the Lands of Shadow. Knowing this, it wasn't very smart to try to fight him with a +8 halberd, because once I swallowed my pride and upgraded it to a passable level, that mostly solved any problems this fight was giving me. Alright, we've got all our weapons. Now we need to put together a gargoyle costume and we'll be all set. The armor is going to be super easy to get. We simply break the enchantment by walking into the Shadow Keep, tell Moore to be sad forever, and lo and behold, we have the verdigris set. We'll be wearing the full set aside from the helmet. Instead, I'm wearing the Fanged Imp head, which I got from Wyndham Catacombs earlier. For this build, I'm choosing to stay in heavy load as it fits for a statue to move kind of sluggishly. As heavy as we are, it doesn't affect our ability to fly. We can use our wings to help close some distance while doing damage at the same time. I chose the Regal Ancestor Spirit as the Gargoyle's main opponent, because the matchup doesn't seem too skewed. The Gargoyle build isn't super overpowered, so we'll have a chance to enjoy the fight a bit longer than we normally do. This is a very beautiful fight with equally beautiful music, but sadly it hardly has any health, so even if you come here at the proper level, it tends to get killed quickly. As expected, this fight didn't pose much of a threat for the Gargoyle, so we'll do one more before we swap costumes. I didn't use the tail at all for the deer, but against a humanoid enemy like Loretta, it works really well. If you charge it, you'll get a mini stagger every time. Heavy rolling in this fight was a hard adjustment to make, but we really shouldn't be trying to do that in the first place since we can tank through a surprising amount of her spell spam. We'll finish with the weapon art for good measure, then proceed through the Haley tree until we get Marika's Soar Seal. That's as far as we're going for now, because it's time to get started on our next costume. This time we'll be going as a ghost, a timeless classic. This is definitely one of the simplest ones so far. All we really need is a white robe of some sort. As far as weapons are concerned, there's not really anything specific to a ghost. You could probably justify any weapon somehow, but I think the most fitting weapon for a spirit would be a spirit sword, of course. Surely by now I'm way too overpowered for the gargoyles to be an issue, so I'll fight them this time instead of doing parkour in the Shunning Grounds. I thought I would be saving a bit of time, but I guess I was wrong. I couldn't be overleveled for these guys even if I tried. I learned a bit more about the spirit sword through this fight. It's very short. It feels more like a dagger than a sword. In this way, it's kind of like the tailbone short sword, but at least that one is properly classified as a dagger even if the title is wrong. I guess it technically is a curved sword since it uses the curved sword moveset, but the way the weapon art's second slash doesn't connect after the slightest movement of the enemy is more of what you'd expect from a dagger. But anyways, that's finally over with. On to Fia's champions. I'm still stuck in tank mode and kind of forgot that there's such a thing as dodging, so I died to Fia's champion, as in a single champion, not even the group. I know I was kind of dissing this sword, but the Rancor Slash can still be fun to use. It's basically just sword dance with some ghost flame and a few skulls to chase down your enemy. Well, you know the drill, time to get the curse mark of death for Fia. To start off the fight, we of course apply Unseen Form to become our ghost himself. It doesn't last long, but I'll try to reapply it when I can, though it can be hard to do that in the heat of battle. As I fought Fortisax, I learned even more about the Spirit Sword. One thing I noticed is that it does not have any frost buildup, even though it is a Ghost Flame weapon. The Ranker/skill apparently does have frost buildup, but it must be a low amount because I used the skill a ton throughout the fight and didn't trigger Frostbite a single time. While the damage on the slashes themselves isn't bad, obviously I can't always hit Fortisax up close, so my plan was to rely on the projectiles to hit his head and stay clear of the lightning. Well, unfortunately for me, the tracking on these things sucks. Not only that, they also only travel a short distance, and usually dissipate right before they can reach him, even if I was casting right in front of him. It seems like the only reason any of the skulls connected was because I lucked out and Fortisax happened to dip his head down right into their path. Even if the Spirit Sword was a bit of a letdown, it's still a cool weapon, and it's still perfect for a ghost, and that's all that matters. This one is also a bit unconventional. We're going to be a Gorgon. In Greek mythology, a Gorgon is one of 3 sisters said to have snakes for hair and a gaze that turns men to stone, the most famous being Medusa. With all the snake-themed equipment in this game, we should be able to put together a pretty good costume for this. Although the full set would work since every piece has some type of snake ornamentation, I'm going to be swapping out the Duelist Greaves for something a bit more elegant. From here, we're going to get a few snake-themed weapons to go with our outfit. For our main weapon, we'll use the Serpent Flail found on the bottom of the Fog Rift Fort, near the first part of Shadow Altus. This is a Faith Dex weapon, so we'll go to Renala to reallocate our stats accordingly. After this, we'll go to Volcano Cave to grab the Coil Shield. The Star Scourge heirloom isn't really necessary, but it might be good to have if I want to use either of the weapons one-handed. The only spell we'll use for this build is Frenzied Burst to represent our Petrifying Gaze. I can't use my Dragon Communion seal anymore since I specced out of Arcane, so I'll get the Golden Order seal. Last but not least is the Godfrey icon to boost charged spells. And now, let's see how it all comes together when we fight the Fire Giant. Phase 1 is easy, so I try not to spend too much FP on this part. The only thing I use it for is for the Viper Bite skill, so I can get some poison going. Once I do that, the Serpent Flail manages just fine on its own, despite the Fire Giant's fire resistance. Phase 2 isn't difficult per se, it's just that you can be doing really well, then get unlucky when he does one stupid attack that derails the whole attempt. Most of the time, I don't even bother trying to dodge when I see him open his mouth. This is why I normally keep focusing on his legs even if it does less damage. The more times I attempted this, the less I used Frenzied Burst. I didn't want to accept it, but it was making the fight so tedious and I just wanted to be done with it. At this rate, our talisman slots were being wasted by accommodating Frenzied Burst for the second phase, so I finished Millicent's quest to get the Rotten Wing Sword insignia. As you can see, this makes Phase 1 go by very quickly, but unfortunately it doesn't work as well in Phase 2 since we have to chase him all over the place. I don't know why I thought having a so-called challenge by using fire against him would be a good idea. I already don't enjoy the fight, so why torture myself even more? I say as I take my fire-based build to the Godskin duo. I see this is going to be a fun fight as always. No matter what kind of build I'm running, my strategy for them always ends up boiling down to stagger, separate, repeat. At least using a flail isn't as bad as the Giant's Braid was. They definitely are absorbing a good bit of damage from it, but at least we can stagger them and take ripostes with it. Once I got the Noble to start his second phase, I would wait for him to roll, then jump on a pillar, and use Viper Bite to poison him while he's stuck in the animation. This would get him out of the way long enough for us to have time to face the Apostle alone. I also drank my Physic at this point for an extra boost to stance damage. If timed well, we can kill him at the exact moment the second Noble catches up to us. Now we just have to keep up with the pattern, and we should be good to go. For our next costume, we have a Grim Reaper. This is another simple one, so it shouldn't be too hard to put together an outfit. First, a Grim Reaper needs a scythe, and what better one to pick than the grave scythe wielded by those who live in death. After we have our weapon, we'll go back to the lake to get Bloodflame Blade from the scarab next to the church. Here's what our stats are looking like before the Melania fight. I feel like a simple build like this will be fun against Melania, so let's try it out. The Bloodflame adds a nice touch to the costume too. Aside from the obvious benefits it provides, it gives our scythe a ghastly red glow that contrasts well with the pure black robes. The bleed works fast when the buff is applied, and is going to make this fight much easier than it normally would be with a basic weapon. But we're pretty evenly matched. Melania can also cut through our health very quickly if we overextend our offense. As she starts the second phase, we can buff up with the physic and use a great rune to heal some health if needed. The default spinning slash skill is already good, so I kept it on and use it anytime we get a big opening like this for some burst damage. I often find myself struggling to strike a balance between too much hesitation and too much aggression in this phase. But with the Bloodflame buff running out rapidly, I was leaning more towards over-aggression as I tried to force the hemorrhage. Of course, the more I indulged in greedy habits, the more I started to panic when I realized I had used up all my flasks. And then I got caught in her Scarlet Aeonia. I did make one small adjustment to my build before trying this again. For some reason, I had more dexterity than strength, which is stupid since this is a strength scaling scythe, so I had to fix that. I never have many problems with Phase 1, but that doesn't mean it's ever okay to let your guard down. This time, I was ready to dodge the Ionian Bloom. This is really the only time I feel safe reapplying Bloodflame Blade. As always, the moment the flower starts to fade, you can run back in for a free L2. You can see I tried to go for a second one, but stopped myself and instead used my last bit of stamina to retreat. Finally, a smart decision. She tries to escape our blade, as she has many times before, but only when fighting against death itself will she finally know defeat. On another note, I can't believe she waterfouled on her last millimeter of health twice in this fight. What are the chances? It's time to start preparing our next costume, and that is a jack-o'-lantern, or maybe jack-o'-lantern is a proper name. The armor isn't super strict for this one. There are a ton of things that could work. I'm just looking for something that looks dull and tattered. For the chest piece, I want the Vulgar Militia armor. This is very easy to farm in Caelid. I swear there are like 20 of them out here, and I am not exaggerating. Like the Mad Pumpkinheads themselves, I want to wield a flail. Luckily, I didn't have to farm at all and got it to drop on the first try. The Pumpkinhead took a bit longer, but was still easy to get since there's a farming spot right next to the Saints Bridge site of Grace. Of course, the original Stingy Jack figure of whom I'm basing this costume around would have a turnip instead of a pumpkin, but over time pumpkins have become associated with the jack-o'-lantern, so it still works. That brings us to the most important part of the costume, the lantern. Sometimes I feel like she's just saying that to be nice. This time, I gotta admit, my movement here was clean. We're starting off strong with the Estelle fight. I just walked in and he already tries to put me in the meat grinder. The spinning chain is too much fun. It's not even that bad of a skill for this fight, as silly as it looks. While Jack's time in the spotlight was short, at least the flail made this costume a memorable one. Up next on our list of Halloween costumes is a jester. We're going for more of a mad jester archetype, so we're going to be swinging our trumpet around as a blunt instrument in addition to playing music with it. Along with an instrument, a mad jester would likely be hiding a smaller weapon to play a little joke on his spectators. For this, we'll get the bloodstained dagger from the demi-humans. Our main weapon, the Envoy's Longhorn, doesn't have such a generous drop rate, but at least we can farm it easily from this Oracle Envoy at the start of the capital. For the outfit, it's just a mix of Rajier and Jaren set, with the Night Maiden twin crown for our jester's hat. After this, we'll do Alexander's quest for the Shard of Alexander to boost our bubble blowing capabilities. Lastly, as is befitting for one who is not quite right in the head, we will finish the last Volcano Manor request so we can challenge the gimmick boss Rykard as the bubble blowing jester. Although I prepared the Bloodstained Dagger for this particular situation, I didn't really need it because the damage from the Longhorn was actually a lot better than I expected, so I didn't need any extra support from the bleed buildup. This fight is designed entirely around the Serpent Hunter, so if you don't engage with the gimmick, it's definitely a boring fight. Though I would argue it's still pretty boring even if you fight it the intended way. I don't know, these types of gimmick fights aren't really my thing, so maybe it's just me. You can practically nullify the first phase by staying inside the lava and spamming an attack button. The lava seems scary at first, but once you've been standing in it for a while, you realize how little damage it actually does to you. The staggering is kind of annoying though, particularly when the serpent starts backing up and you get stun-locked by the lava while you're trying to heal or move out of the way. Now for phase 2. Since this is the real fight, I've saved all my bubbles for Rykard, and they are really good for giant enemies since most of the bubbles will connect. But apparently this damage wasn't broken enough for me, so I didn't see their potential at first. I went back to melee and tried to repeat the same strategy from earlier. The only problem with that is the skulls. If you catch this and you're still hugging his leg, you're gonna get stuck. Even if you do manage to escape, good luck figuring out what's happening on your screen through all the explosions. Although it's just a fraction of the damage they had before all the nerfs, using bubbles is still a viable strategy for both phases of this fight. It was still faster to kill the god-devouring serpent with the bubbles than with melee attacks. For the second phase, I stacked Bestial Vitality with the healing tier in my physic, so I could have constant regen going to offset the damage I'd be taking in the lava. I found that free aiming with the horn was better than locking on. He moves his head around so much that many of the bubbles were missing him before, which is what led me to believe that the damage was worse than it actually is. I take it back, I did over 12k damage in a single FP bar, which is really good considering all the nerfs this skill has gotten. At the end of the fight, I was out of FP and flasks, and since I was constantly taking damage from the lava, it was very tense because he could kill me at any moment with any of his attacks. Thankfully, he froze up and let me keep attacking him, and it was finally over. With this next one, we're finally going into DLC boss territory, and the first monster we'll be dressing as in the Land of Shadow is the Kraken. This outfit is going to be so easy to make, we hardly have to wear anything at all. Aside from a real live octopus to put on our head, the only piece of armor we'll be wearing is the braided cord robe dropped by Hornsent after we invade him in Shadow Keep. It kind of matches the octopus head and can almost be interpreted as an extension of the tentacles with the way the cords drape across our body. The tooth whip is perfect for an octopus build because the teeth actually look like suction cups. I just wish we could get 2 of them in a single cycle. The petal whip will have to do for our other tentacle, and once again, we need to swap our stats again to be able to use it. In the same way that the land octopuses can eat their own limbs to regenerate health, I want to get the Godskin Swaddling Cloth to heal HP in between attacks. There's something I'd like to get from the Dancing Lion, so we're going to fight that one first. Well, I guess that's what you're supposed to do anyway. Our Shadow Tree Blessing is up to 11 already, which may be a bit high for this fight, but we'll see how it goes. Being an octopus, I am pretty squishy, which unfortunately makes me more appetizing to the Dancing Lion. To make up for my low defenses, my tentacles are very powerful when combined with the Claw Talisman and the Rotten Wing Sword insignia. As is always the case with quick power stance weapons, it's very easy to activate the boost from successive attacks. It's better to focus on individual attacks instead of hoping to apply a status effect, which I can inflict 2 of, by the way. The bleed from the Petal Whip never got a chance to build up enough, but after staggering the boss, I was able to poison it. I may not be able to take the riposte, but I made good use of the stagger by getting in a full heavy combo with my whips. With the Divine Beast defeated, we can claim the Divine Beast head for ourselves, which brings us to the next scary creature on the list. A manticore is a mythical creature said to have the head of a man, body of a lion, and tail of a scorpion. We're more of a reverse manticore since we have the head of a lion and the body of a man, but at least we got the tail right. For our first weapon, we need to unseal the spirit spring and ride to the northern nameless mausoleum, kill Red Bear, and get his claws. Of course, our other weapon is going to be the scorpion stinger. I've put my furs back on since I can't have a lion's body. I figured we could go for a beast-man hybrid look. The bear claws do inflict bleed, but due to Placidusax's high resistances, I wasn't able to bleed him out until the second phase. From here, I swapped to the stinger to try to afflict him with Scarlet Rot, but by now this attempt was already dead since I had used up all my flasks and barely had any health left. I'm someone who gets hit a lot, and the beast head lowers the effectiveness of flasks, so this wasn't exactly a surprising outcome. It went pretty well for a first attempt considering how out of practice I am, so let's just keep the momentum going and try it again. A few attempts later, and I had gotten better at conserving my flasks during the first phase. I decided to use the stinger first since the rot was way easier to trigger than the bleed was. I also got an unexpected stagger with the dagger. Now I just need to chip him as much as I can before he vanishes to see if maybe I get lucky enough to outpace the laser. As soon as he flies up in the air when he's this low, I know it's coming, and I'm aware of my own abilities, or should I say inabilities, so I put my bubble on to be prepared. That wasn't so bad. I dodged all but 2 of his lasers. That might be a personal best for me. We'll finish him with the bear claws. Placidusax wasn't a fight I needed to do for any equipment. I'm just doing an all-remembrance boss run so we can try out a variety of different Halloween builds. So, let's see what's up next on our list. Quite the contrast to the fearsome manticore is a lovely mermaid. Well, as lovely as we can make it with what little we have to work with. One mermaid feature I'd like to capture is the long, beautiful hair they are often depicted with. I think the elaborate hairstyle on the moray mask would suit a mermaid perfectly. For our tail, we obviously don't have any actual fishtail armor, but what we do have is the chainmail skirt, which is the closest we can get to the illusion of a scaled lower body. After we've gotten our armor, we just have to get both bubble spells from Shifra River. As a side note, I did also put on the mushroom arms, mostly to fill up the empty space. They almost look like fins, or scales, or a parasitic infection. Before I fight anything, I would like to get at least a few more magic damage buffs. I don't expect the bubble spells to be anything crazy, so I want to be safe. For the time being, the jellyfish shield is just for show since I don't have the stats to wield it. But we do have a functional jellyfish in the form of the spirit jellyfish, who is going to be our little underwater friend who will be taking with us on our adventures. I'm taking her to a few of the mini-bosses of the DLC who are blocking off optional areas. First, we have the Ancient Dragon Man, who is hardly worth mentioning, so let's move on to the next one. It'll be nice to be the one who gets to annoy Yori with summons for once. If I can get him to focus on the jellyfish, I can set him up for a fully buffed oracular bubble. Most of the time, my jellyfish got killed quickly, and I was left to fend for myself against all the summons. Eventually, Yori and I made a little agreement. I don't summon my buddy if you don't summon yours. But he wasn't taking me seriously, so I had to bring out my Jelly Girl to show him what happens when you don't keep your word. With my bubbles to stun him and her poison working in the background, the summoning portion of the fight wasn't as bad. I just had to wait until the second phase to summon her so she wouldn't die instantly. I also learned that the bubbles will instantly kill any of Yori's summons. I just need to be careful about the long casting animation. Near the end, I ran out of flasks mainly because of being constantly chased down by the fire breathers, but I wasn't about to give up on my Jelly Girl just yet. The poison was still ticking, and she even spat at him one more time to make sure he was dead. But now we return to the main route, making sure to take care of the NPC quests in Shadowkeep before we trigger the fight with Mesmer. Our jellyfish friend offers us her help once more. However, I worry that our next fight won't go as well for her as the others did. I did collect as many spirit blessings as I could to strengthen her, but she's still a support spirit. She's not really meant to take all the aggro. She tried the best she could. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't really pulling my own weight either. The poor girl even casted Stopra for me, and my bubbles still couldn't make it in time. This was already a disaster of a fight. I didn't even make it to phase 2 and had already used all my flasks. My friend was dead. Sure, Mesmer was poisoned, but I wouldn't make it much longer without heals anyway. Once I got back to the point of consistently reaching phase 2, my deaths were mostly caused by the usual culprit, the snake attack. As I attempted this, I realized that my jellyfish shield was only weighing me down as a cosmetic, so why not actually try to use the buff? If I activate Godric's Great Rune, I can two-hand the shield at the start of the fight to activate the buff and get some good hits on him after his AoE. Most of the time, I can't punish with the fully charged bubbles. The AoE is practically the only time that works as a punish. Even on some of his more punishable moves, like Mesmer's Assault or his other jumping spear throw, it's not a true punish. There is a little trick you can do with the bubbles if he dodges away. Since they're so slow, you can lead him back into their path before they dissipate. If you manage to hit him with enough bubbles, you can even get a stagger from it, which gives us another chance to hit him with the charged version of the spell. I think I finally got the hang of this attack. I was mainly having trouble with timing my dodges, but once I actually paid attention, I realized that you can see each individual snake open its mouth, which signals when you're supposed to dodge. Anyways, I tried to summon my jellyfish late since it worked in the Yori fight, but sadly this only makes it worse because he targets her relentlessly in this phase and kills her before she can even poison him. Oh well, she was good as a temporary distraction. I don't know what use kindling is to a mermaid, but I guess I'll take it off your hands. Now for our next costume. We have a mummy, of the undead variety of course. Our outfit is based on an ancient Egyptian mummy, wrapped in linen and wielding a shepherd's crook, which I chose to represent with the vulgar militia Shotel. Mummified pharaohs in particular are often depicted as vengeful, cursing all who disturb and pillage their burial sites. So we'll need to have something to represent that aspect of the mummy as well. Watchful Spirit would have been perfect for this build since it summons a vengeful spirit above your head, but I wasn't sure if it was burning the tree or killing Mesmer that locks you out of the Hornsent Grandum's quest. Guess which one it was. There is another option for us. The Horned Bairn serves the same purpose and will summon 6 homing curse orbs over our head. Also, can we talk about how cool it looks in this lighting with the white clothes against a dark background? We're going to test it out against Rolana. I usually fight her before Mesmer, but I forgot about her, so we get to fight her as a mummy. In addition to the things I mentioned, I brought along Bestial Sling, which I imagine is just rocks, sand, and other sediment that's accumulated around my body after being removed from my tomb and left exposed to the elements. Well, now I've absorbed it and can use it as a power, even if it damages her as much as you'd expect a couple of pebbles to. The Horned Bairn was also disappointing damage-wise. I thought maybe I could fix it by properly allocating my stats into intelligence and faith, which it scales with. But the scaling is so bad that it hardly made any difference, even when I drank the Holy Shrouding Tear. I mostly focused on staggering her with the Shotel. This is always a good strategy to fall back on if you feel stuck here. Most of the time, she's too aggressive to allow us enough time to cast anyway. The only exception is the Twin Moons, where dodging requires that you create distance. Bestial Sling may not be as strong as it used to be, but it will always be reliable as a finisher. The next costume we'll be wearing is something specific to Elden Ring. We are going to dress up as an omen. Due to prejudice, I imagine that the people of the Lands Between would dress up as an omen either as a form of mockery, or as a disguise to frighten evil spirits. Ironically, the Omen Smirk mask mentions that the Omen themselves are haunted by evil spirits, an intentional cruelty on the Omen killer's part. But that's not the mask I chose. I considered it, but ultimately liked the look of the Curseblade mask better. As for the rest of the costume, if I were going for accuracy, I would use the Lamentor's mask to transform, but it's like the dragon situation. I want to wear a costume. not look like I skinned an omen alive and I'm wearing one as a suit. So we're going to use a homemade omen costume provided by none other than the lovable sewer dweller himself, the Dung Eater. Honestly, I think any large weapon is acceptable lore-wise, but I'm sticking with the ones that are wielded by the omen themselves, the Warped Axe and the Omen Cleaver, whichever drops first. The last thing we need is the Regal Omen Bairn from Morgoth's Remembrance. Then our costume will be complete. Since I'll have to fight him sooner or later, I'm going to try to get Gaius out of the way, but, well, you know how it is. Gaius is weak to holy damage, so I was hoping to get good use out of the Omen Bairn, but it takes so long to cast that it's practically impossible to find an opening. But the times I did hit him were never in vain, as it did do really good damage to him, especially if all of the projectiles connected. The rest of the time, I got a little carried away fishing for a stagger. While the unique heavy attack of the Cleaver is good for that purpose, the range is short, so he will sometimes slip out from under us mid-attack. The stagger never happened, but I was at full health with no flasks, a little FP, and nothing to lose, so I went for it. Our next costume will be a pirate. Much like the Jester, this isn't a monster, but a profession, even if it's not the most honorable line of work. Our outfit is put together from various sets I've collected over time clearing out enemies, most notably the hat from the Wandering Nobles. For our weapons, we'll be dual-wielding curved swords, scavengers, and the bandits. We can easily farm the bandits' curved swords from one of the skeletons wielding it in a low-level area. When we have it, we set out to Volcano Cave once again, this time to kill the boss and get the jar cannon. I did craft volcano pots for bombs, but forgot to use them. But if you want to make a pirate build in this game, there's something to consider. Romina is our next target. Going into battle with our explosive great bolts, we're aiming to burn down this church a second time. The bolts themselves aren't that bad, but the jar cannon does take a long time to fire, and we can only carry 20 at a time. So they're really just a gimmick to add to the whole pirate theme. And most of the time I use them, I end up getting killed immediately afterwards, so it might not be the best trade-off. Jump attacks are going to be my go-to for this fight as well. The hurt box on her main body can be finicky at times, but jumping through her attacks always helps me dodge them, so if I miss my attack, she usually misses one of hers as well. She did prolong the fight a bit by stalling with her aerial attacks, but I enjoy this fight a lot and had a ton of fun with this build, even if I only got to fight one boss with it. Before we burn the sealing tree, let's make sure we finished all the NPC quests. We're going to clear out the Stone Coffin Fisher in our next costume, which will be a scarecrow. The outfit on this one isn't super strict. Anything raggedy looking will work. The most important part is the hat. I use the Traveler's hat, but Egon's hat is another good scarecrow hat. Naturally, I chose the Celebrant's Rib Rake as my weapon since it's a farming tool, and the fact that it's made from human bones makes it even better for our spooky scarecrow. My Shadow Blessing is nearly maxed out, yet the Putrescent Knight was still doing a ton of damage. It was killing me in 2 hits, so I had to be careful to not be too greedy on this one. This boss in particular rewards a patient playstyle. It has the excessively long combos that are typical of bosses in this game, but there are plenty of opportunities to sneak in a quick hit or two once you've adjusted to its attack patterns. However, the Putrescent Knight is very evasive, so I've put Piercing Fang on the spear to counter that. When we've talked with Saint Trina, bested Tiolier, and exhausted all his dialogue, we can go to Anir Alim to kill Letta and Dane. With Ansbach and Tiolier by my side, this worked out perfectly as they both chose to focus on Letta while I could finish off Dane in a 1v1. Don't you just love being ganked, Letta? Tiolier didn't make it, but Letta wasn't in such a good spot herself, and Ansbach quickly reduced her to nothing but another spot on the blood-stained floor. We'll pick up Dane's footwork on our way out, then discuss what we'll be wearing for our next costume. Up next, we have a siren. Though often depicted as mermaids, we've already been a mermaid, so we're going with a classical, half-bird, half-woman siren for our costume. Sirens are typically depicted with long, styled hair, so I've put on some braids with a lovely flower ornament to charm our enemies. We already picked up the kick-boosting Divine Bird Greaves earlier. Now we just need to get the wing portion of the costume. The Mausoleum Knights have winged armor that should be perfect for this. There's one right outside the Black Knife Catacombs that can be farmed easily with a simple walk back and forth from the Grace. The most important aspect of the siren is her beautiful song. Not just her voice, but also the instrument she plays. If we solve the Champion Song puzzle, the painter will drop the heart bow. This weapon's not just for show either. It actually plays music when you shoot an arrow, letting you serenade your enemies as you slaughter them. The bow itself didn't seem to do that much damage. The siren build is very flexible. We can snipe enemies from afar with the bow, or lure them in close to gore them with our talons. Like I said, the bow doesn't do much damage, but the barrage skill can be useful for building up status effects. Maybe it would be more accurate to use the heart bow the most, but I wanted to focus on using my kicks this time, because I'm very interested in finally trying out a hand-to-hand combat weapon. Plus, I'm wearing talismans tailored to the kicking aspect of my build, such as the Shattered Stone Talisman to boost kicking skills. I was not disappointed with Dane's footwork at all. The whole moveset is so much fun to play around with, and Dryleaf Whirlwind is a great skill that works perfectly as a punisher for Midra. We can use it to dance around Midra's moves and get him ready for another stagger. 3 whirlwinds should do the trick. Part of me was expecting this weapon to have a unique crit animation using your foot instead. The bow didn't see much use, but I was sure to use it for the actual kill so we could end this fight on a high note. Our next costume is the skeleton. There's not much to it. It's just a classic FromSoft skeleton with a small shield and a sword, with our character altered to produce mind-boggling effects. I've infused the scimitar with bleed so it can be accurate to the ones wielded by the skeletons themselves. And because bleed is powerful, so of course I'm going to use it against Malekith. Considering we're fighting him naked, it's not a good idea to get too caught up in trying to bleed him out. We aren't going to win any trades like this. This is a lesson that I did not take to heart, even in the second phase. I definitely find it easier to rush him down in this phase, though. Using the stance break tier makes a stagger happen in just a few jump attacks. After this, it wouldn't be a bad idea to start going through Ashen Lanedale next, so let's start preparing a costume for that. We have transformed into a beautiful succubus in an attempt to seduce the all-knowing, complete with an alluring gown and long, lustrous hair. Her role as a seductress is similar to the siren. However, a succubus is a demon, most often associated with sleep and dreams, where she is said to begin her affairs with humans. Sleep is unfortunately not so useful in this game, but we can definitely make it work against an NPC boss like Gideon. If we do manage to put something to sleep, we have St. Trina's Smile to give us a damage boost after the fact. Another aspect I want to capture is the ability of a succubus to absorb the life force of their partners. So we'll keep the Clinging Bone as a sidearm for the Lifesteal Fist skill. Gideon will provide a free demonstration, which puts us in a great position to put him to sleep, then set him up for another fist. While I'm happy I didn't have to spend too much time in this fight, I would prefer to not spend any time with him at all, and I'm a succubus, so that's saying something. I've never used Lifesteal Fist in PvE, player model type enemies don't count, so to satisfy my curiosity, I'll see if it does anything at all to Godfrey. Obviously, I knew the animation wouldn't connect on his model, but I was hoping that maybe the damage would be really good, or I'd recover health on hit, or I don't know, something to make it worthwhile. But now we know, so we don't have to waste our time with it again. I was able to put him to sleep once in Phase 1, which lets us get huge stance damage on him and eventually a stagger. We'd better enjoy all these free hits while they last, because it's near impossible to get this man to go to sleep in Phase 2. Despite his wild state, the old lord of a lifeless land can't hide the fact that his own life force is dwindling, I'm simply the collector. The next monster is another infamous life sucker, a vampire. The vampire we're dressing as is a refined creature, probably a member of the nobility, so we must dress accordingly. I often see vampire builds in these games focused on being bleed builds, which makes sense. Vampires survive by drinking blood, so they would want a weapon that's efficient at drawing blood. But a lot of weapons in this game also shoot blood at the enemies, which would be wasteful, so instead, we'll use weapons and equipment that exclusively siphon health off of enemies to represent sucking their blood. I'm also throwing on the Blessed Dew talisman because why not? And you know what? I'm keeping the hair too. This is gonna be fun because we get to use the Blasphemous Blade, which is arguably the best weapon in the game, and with an actual strong setup, I think maybe I'm ready to challenge Consort Radon. If possible, I want to use Taker's Flames when I can to save my flasks, but it takes me a moment to adjust this fight every playthrough. While the Talisman of the Dread would be another good option, I'm not relying on the skill enough to justify it, and I already have the Shard of Alexander, so we should be fine. I decided to bring along the Two-Handed Sword Talisman. I don't think you can really go wrong with that one. As long as I can deal with the Meteor Clone attack, I should be okay. His other moves shouldn't be deadly, as long as we can dodge at least most of his hits. I'm still not perfect at dodging this one, but whatever health I lose, I can gain back by punishing with Taker's Flames. For once, I didn't get hit by the giant meteorite. With that kind of luck, I can't afford to screw this fight up now. And that's the key to this fight. You have to keep your cool, because this fight just doesn't give you the leeway to panic. On this particular run, I enjoyed fighting this, but only because I was using an overpowered weapon with an overpowered skill and getting free health for it. We've got a few optional bosses left in the DLC. We'll clear them out one by one, starting with Metter, dressed as a werewolf. I got the beast claws earlier, so our weapon's covered. Aside from our fur raiment, we'll put on Malekith's gauntlets and greaves to look like claws, and obviously the Black Wolf mask. In addition to the talisman, I went to get the Thorny Tear for boosting consecutive attacks. We'll need stamina to use this effectively, so let's also pick up the Two-Headed Turtle talisman for faster stamina regen. I know that I was complaining a lot about Consort Radon before, but as I've gotten more experience with the DLC bosses, I realized that I hate the Metter fight even more. I even admitted it myself. I kind of enjoyed the Radon fight this time around, but so far not a single fight with her has been an enjoyable one. I usually don't like to be super negative about bosses like this, but I haven't found one redeeming quality about this fight as far as game mechanics are concerned. And that damn laser, I still don't even know if I can consistently dodge this. It was mostly my fault that I got hit by the initial blast, but somehow I ended up in a blind spot for the rest of the attack's duration. I don't know if there is a way to recreate this or if it's pure luck. I'm guessing it's the latter. Go ahead and run from the fight since that's all you know how to do, coward. The next costume on the list is a witch, something we can find many of in the Lands Between if we need inspiration. I want to stick to spells that are either scary looking or blasphemous in some way, as witches themselves are heretics who defy the Golden Order. I also snuck in Shard Spiral since we bought it off a witch. It's for accuracy, totally not because I want to cheese bail with it or anything. Impenetrable Thorns was terrible in this fight. All it did was waste my health. Basically every gimmick spell that I brought along hurt me in some way. When I wrote this, I meant this in terms of being disadvantageous to cast, but I realized that for almost all of them, it also applied in the literal sense. Night Maiden's Miss, Impenetrable Thorns, Briars of Sin. I did have Explosive Ghost Flame if I didn't want to take any damage, but every time I tried to branch out and do creative setups, I got killed for it. So can you blame me for defaulting to Shard Spiral? Just because our spells are themed doesn't mean they have to be bad. I just need to be better at choosing them. For this fight, typical projectile type spells are probably the best way to go, so I collected a few more Ghost Flame spells and went back to try again with my new lineup. I could have put on the Prince of Death staff for a damage boost, but we don't need 2 staves to clutter up our costume. Besides, this run isn't about damage, right? Okay, we're 2 for 2 on dodging desperation moves now. I figured this one wouldn't be too bad since I'm essentially just a mage, but emo. For the last optional boss of the DLC, we'll be dressing up as a Yeti. We're going to be using ice-themed spells, particularly the more primal ones. The Horned Warrior Greaves give the illusion of big feet, and of course we will be using Dane's footwork again for this costume. We'll throw on Divine Beast Frost Stomp, then get Borealis' Mist to use as our ice spell. It was very hard to cast this uninterrupted against the Shadow Tree avatar, so unfortunately I realized I wouldn't be able to use it that much and would have to rely on other sources for Frostbite. What I ended up doing was cold infusing Dane's footwork so that I didn't have to stomp every time I wanted to build up Frostbite. Hitting the head is pretty easy to do with the jumping kicks, and when I took a moment to slow down, I realized that I was making this fight so much harder with my impatience. After a couple of tries, I was making it to phase 3 consistently, and conserving my FP flask to save the frost stomping for later in the fight. Phase 3 does have an opening for Borealis' Mist after the AoE, but I was so far away that I didn't really have enough time to cast it. I tried to finish with it anyway, but with no flask to heal myself against a boss that inflicts bleed, I was in no place to be styling on the boss. So while this wasn't the flashiest build, it was a fun one that had a good amount of versatility. Last on the list is one more simple costume to close it out, a zombie. All we need are our fists, with dry leaf arts to support them. For the clothes, we just need something dirty and old. I also threw in a few pieces of the Royal Remains set so we look a little more decomposed, I guess. I considered using Bestial Sling again since I imagine zombies are also covered in dirt from rising out of the grave, but I already did that gimmick on the mummy. The zombie costume deserves something unique. Then it hit me. There is literally a consumable in this game that lets you throw chunks of flesh at your enemies. What could be more fitting than that for a zombie? These are very easy to farm from jar innards in Shadow Keep, so we'll have a full stack of these in no time. It's also quite generous that you can hold 40 of these at a time in this inventory limiting age. Alright, moment of truth. Are chunks of meat viable against Radagon? That one didn't count, so I asked the game again. Well damn, Radagon, why even waste your energy parrying? I knew the 40 limit was suspicious. This is supposed to be a simple build, but I felt like it was still missing something. I wanted to add something that represented the whole coming back from the dead thing. And while the Royal Remains armor kind of does that, since it heals near death only, I got inspired by another zombie build I had seen a while back, which I will link in the description. This build combines the Twin Bird Kite Shield, the Red Feathered Branch Sword, and the Blue Feathered Branch Sword for a boost to attack and defense when below 20% health. The damage buff isn't anything super crazy. I tested it out here on Radagon. But it's something to consider in a long fight like this where you might run out of flasks and be stuck with low health on Elden Beast. Even if it isn't much, it's still something, and it's nice to know that it'll be there if we need it. As for me, I ended up being just fine on the Elden Beast. The hand-to-hand arts worked very well, and I even got the elusive Elden Beast dagger. And I have some flasks to burn, so there's only one proper way to finish this fight. I hope you enjoyed this Elden Ring Halloween special. Which costume in the run did you like the most? As always, feel free to leave any suggestions you have for future videos in the comments. I read them all. If you liked this video, there will be many more in the future, but until then, there are lots of themed runs about the Souls series on my channel if you want to see more. I'll see you next time. Happy Halloween!
I know I've yapped a lot about Roblox, but oh well, I'm gonna keep doing it. It's one of the biggest platforms on the planet that's used predominantly by children, and it has a huge glaring issue that every single human being with a functioning frontal lobe on the planet can recognize, except for the company itself. Predators. For years, there have been innumerable cases of pedophiles utilizing that platform to prey on children, and Roblox Corp itself just doesn't do enough. It's been a huge criticism shared by tons and tons of people. And the CEO, Dave Baszucki, is so out of touch that he always minimizes how big of a problem this is, and instead will shift the focus to making Roblox a dating platform, which is so laughably tone deaf it would be comical if it wasn't so depraved and so degenerate. And that's not a joke. He is always talking and preaching the gospel about how he wants Roblox to be a dating platform, even in the midst of stories like what we're about to cover right now, with kidnapping. Children being kidnapped from people they met through Roblox. There have been so many cases of predators using Roblox and going unpunished by Roblox, by the way. Some of these pedophiles that got arrested didn't even get banned on Roblox, by the way. It's just a huge issue that for some reason this company cannot recognize, and they just do not do enough to ensure the safety of the children that use their platform.
This Omaha native is in a Georgia jail tonight accused of abducting a pair of sisters.
Well, the young girls are home safe in Florida tonight. Deputies say a 19-year-old, Sarah Mulasse, met them on the online gaming platform Roblox.
How many times have you heard of stories just like this one? If you only had $1 for every time this happened, you'd be able to rival Dave Baszucki's multi-million-dollar salary. It is fucking disgusting how common this seems to be, and again, how hands-off Roblox seems to be with safety of its users. They don't really appear to do a whole lot, even though they oftentimes try to flex their new AI moderation tools and shit like that. It's clearly not working. The best they do is maybe get tongue sahur to make a statement saying, hey, talking to strangers is bad. And they're like, well, we did all we could.
It started online. Martin County Sheriff John Boonsey telling us 2 young girls from Indiantown began talking with a man through the game Roblox.
From that gaming app, these girls were then moved from Roblox over to Snapchat.
This is the standard procedure here from the pedophile playbook. So in this case, Sarah Mulasse met the victims on Roblox and then got them to a different platform in order to chat further and groom them and then eventually kidnap them. Now, historically, Roblox likes to just put in this hard line in the sand well, off our platform, not our problem. Not on our plate, not anymore. Now you deal with that mess over there. Recent times, though, they've started to try and do a little bit more to stop that off-platform transition from happening from Roblox to Discord in a lot of cases. In this case, it was Snapchat. But again, they're clearly not doing enough, and I understand, and this is something I've said every time I've talked about this, that at Roblox's scale, where it's one of the biggest games in the world, millions and millions and millions of players every single day, I know how difficult it would be to moderate that and ensure this kind of thing is impossible to happen. I get that, but it just feels like safety isn't an actual priority of this company, and it oftentimes feels like they're at odds with people on the platform that try and police it themselves, notably with Schlep, where, I already talked about this, I won't just regurgitate the whole story, but there are people that actively try and get pedophiles arrested after, catching them on Roblox. And Roblox themselves has a huge problem calling them, vigilantes that they don't, sign off on, and would rather they work collaboratively with Roblox. But the thing is, when people do try to work collaboratively with Roblox to catch bad people like this, Roblox does not give them the tools, the access, or the support in order to help them with those investigations, or help them, they don't actually take in the information to do anything on their own, which is why people like Schlep or others that catch predators on Roblox take matters into their own hands, or even local law enforcement at times have stepped in and arrested these predators way before Roblox does. It just seems like Roblox isn't taking the issue seriously. It doesn't feel like they view it as this huge problem that it actually is.
Soon, Gifts like food began showing up at the home.
All these things I just mentioned were indicative of what we believe to be a grooming process that the suspect was doing with these young girls.
The sheriff says Mulasseh was the man on the other side of the phone, but that changed on Saturday.
Our suspect left Omaha, Nebraska, and drove straight through, we believe, to Indiantown, arriving January 31st, Saturday.
This revolting freak drove like 23 straight hours to kidnap these children. So apparently they had been communicating for a little while. He was even sending like food to their house, apparently. I guess he was just like ordering them Domino's or something, fucking box of chocolates, whatever. Then it eventually culminated with him making that 23-hour drive down there. I guess he was probably practicing in some Roblox driving simulators or something to endure the long straight shot. So he got there, kidnapped these children, and drove off.
Soon came a 911 call from the family of the 12 and 15-year-old sisters. They were missing.
We were dealing with a type of abduction. I know these girls went willingly, but their age suggested that they had been taken and were probably being removed from our area.
Yes, it is still kidnapping, even if the victims went willingly. They are children. This was an adult that came there, picked them up, and took them away from their parents. That is a textbook case of kidnapping.
Several hours later, and officials in Georgia spotted the suspect's vehicle on I-75, finding the girls safely inside.
These are young, impressionable girls who might have thought this would just be something fun to do. But again, we're dealing with a grown man that drove all the way from another state, an individual they never met in person, picked them up, and we really don't know what he was going to do.
He's exactly right. This is a very scary situation here, and unfortunately one that seems to be not super unusual when it comes to this platform. Roblox has had many cases like this, and luckily they were able to find the vehicle and save the kids from this predator here, because who knows what could have happened, but it wouldn't have been good. This is fucking terrifying. It's every parent's worst nightmare, and it's something that has been happening on a platform, Roblox, which is told parents for years that it's a really safe place for their kids to be, but that's just not the reality of it.
KETV reached out to Roblox. The company says it's investigating this incident and will continue to strengthen protections to keep users safe.
Hollow words, same song and dance Roblox always says when something like this happens. Dave Bazooki notably hasn't made a statement because he's probably too busy trying to figure out a way of weaseling in a prediction market to Roblox to keep kids fucking gambling on there. Which is, by the way, is something he actually teased on a little segment where someone jokingly brought up prediction markets, and he's like, well, actually, that's a really good idea. So maybe that's Dave Bazooki's next priority, aside from making it a dating platform. Anyway, though, fact of the matter is, this keeps happening with Roblox, and it's fucking sickening. Anyway, just wanted to yap about it a little bit. That's it. See ya.
A Soul Level 1 run is a rite of passage for challenge runners. If someone is trying their hand at challenge running for the first time, this is usually where they start. Even I recommend this when someone asks me how to get into challenge running, and for good reason. A Soul Level 1 gets you used to having to work around restrictions, and as you improve, you can gradually add your own restrictions to make it more challenging, things like no hit, no roll, etc. In my case, I'll be keeping it fairly simple, which I know is strange because I'm famous for overcomplicating even the simplest of runs. The only rules I'll be adding is that I must use a different weapon for every boss, and I won't be using magic aside from support spells like Water Veil. The other rule is I am not allowed to use the Thief's Ring. That way I can't cheese any bosses, and I can't rush through areas mindlessly. I'll actually have to use my brain to pass each level. Demon Souls doesn't have a lot of bosses, but it does have a lot of options for weapons in Soul Level 1 run. I was surprised at how much variety there is. In fact, there are more weapons than bosses, which I was not expecting at all, but we still got to use most of our options in a single cycle. Although this isn't the most original run out there, I had a lot of requests to do a Soul Level 1 in Demon Souls. While there are a few videos up about it already, the world could always use more Demon Souls videos, right? Before I start, I also want to point out that a similar run has been done in Dark Souls by Press Continue. So if you like this sort of thing, I'll leave a link to his video in the description if you haven't seen it already. Alright, now that everything's been covered, let's start the run. I accidentally skipped the tutorial level, so no Vanguard this time, and we'll have to start with whatever items our character comes with. We're playing as the Royalty class, which is the one and only starter class that starts at level 1. Despite that, I'd say that this class starts out a lot stronger than the others since we have magic and an FP regenerating ring, but of course we will be using neither of those things in this run. Instead, we'll be relying on our buckler to help us parry the enemies in our way so we can finish them off with our rapier. Sometimes all these enemies get overwhelming for a weak level 1 character like ourselves. It was very nice of Ostrava to volunteer to clear them out for us. You, struggling over there? Huh. Alright then. I'll just have to go through Boletaria alone. I guess we can start picking up a few items in this corridor. The scimitar is a good Soul Level 1 weapon, so we'll take that for later. As I approach the Dragon Bridge, I want to lure it out and make sure it starts its fire-breathing animation. I was told that while it's busy doing that, you have enough time to run to the roost and pick up the items before it gets back. The only item I really care about is the Ring of Great Strength. Even if I die while getting that, it's not a big deal. I can easily get these souls back if I repeat the strategy I just mentioned. Once I've crossed over to pull the lever, I pick up the turpentine on my way out before returning to the Nexus to buy a weapon for the Phalanx. I'm choosing to save my rapier for now, and instead I'm going to use a dagger for the Phalanx. We won't need to do any upgrades on it since we have turpentine. The fire damage from that will be more than enough to melt through the Phalanx and her wall of hoplites. Seeing as we've picked up a few weapons and have some turpentine to spare, why don't we push on ahead through 1-2 before opening up the rest of the Archstones? There's another weapon lying on the ground for us to pick up, the Winged Spear. We'll have to buy the others from the Dregling Merchant when we're done with the fight. Since I have turpentine, I'm bringing an unupgraded Mailbreaker to deal with the Tower Knight. The first order of business is to take out these archers. I'm trying to kill them without knocking them off, so I use one light attack, then a heavy attack. Even if they get knocked down after this, they'll die from the fall damage. But once I've dealt with the archers, the Tower Knight will be very easy to knock down with all the extra fire damage. I almost two-cycled him, but unfortunately he blasted me away before I could get in that last hit, just to spite me and waste my time. Thankfully, it only took a few more pokes to his ankle to finish the job. With all these souls, we can stock up on weapons in case we need them. I'll buy the short spear and the broadsword. Even if I don't use them, it's better to keep my options open. As I decide where I want to go next, I speak with Thomas to get the Ring of Herculean Strength. This might be a weird choice, but I decided to go to the Shrine of Storms first. The main reason is for Blige. He's a really good merchant for healing items, and he sits right next to the spawn point. Of course, we'll need to free him from his cell first, and we don't have the Thief's Ring this time, so we need to play this level very patiently. The initial skeleton choke point can be hard to deal with. Even when I try to lure them out one at a time, I always manage to wake up more than one. If that happens to you, this is when the terrain starts to be your strongest weapon. Most of the level isn't as open as this first section, so I try to keep my shield up and use mostly backstabs and parries to clear out any skeletons lurking in the corridors. While I was here, I went to pick up the Crescent Falchion +1, so I could have an easier time clearing out the level. We can't upgrade it further without beating the Flame Lurker, but the level it starts with is more than enough for earlier levels like this one. Once we make it to Blige's cell, we can buy a couple of things from him before we head towards the boss. For now, all I want is the short bow and as many pieces of sticky white stuff as he'll let me buy. Adjudicator's gonna be identical to the Tower Knight fight. It's the same gimmick, so we'll use the same strategy, this time with a rapier. After knocking it down the first time, I buff with turpentine and spam light attacks. That's really all there is to this fight. Even so, the Adjudicator did the same thing to me that the Tower Knight did and somehow managed to slip away from me before I could take away that last little bit of health. It sure feels weird not being able to use all these souls to level. I need to spend these on something. Wait, actually, I want another ring to add to my collection. And Ostrava died already, so we should challenge Doran for his ring. What could go wrong? Okay, so he can bleed, but bleed kind of sucks in this game, so it's not really helping much. We can do this. It's the same parry timing as earlier. No pressure. What? How dare you hit me with a mix-up? You're supposed to be mashing into my parries. Well, I suppose I don't have anything to lose anymore. I even got desperate and tried to lure him out to knock him off a ledge somewhere, but he would not follow me, no matter what. So that ring is staying where it is. Stamina is overrated anyways. Today I feel like playing the game in a weird order, so next I'll be going through the Valley of Defilement. We've got quite a few weapons we can pick up around here, and like the previous area, I want to keep my shield up at all times since I have no Thief's Ring to protect myself against droves of depraved ones. At least the layout of the area is made in a way that allows you to pick fights with a few at a time. This area only really starts to be a problem if you try to rush. Normally I get too scared to drop down here where all the enemies are, so I try to make it to the shortcut before they can hit me. But this time I have no choice, because without the Thief's Ring, they can see me above them, so they'll start crowding around the platform. So I'll just run as far ahead as I can and take out the guy in front of the fog wall first. Once I make it to this next little room, I'll hopefully have enough space to pick off the others one at a time. The Crescent Falchion is a great weapon for this area. The magic damage is very effective against the depraved ones, and as a curved sword, the wide arcs in its slashes are perfect for levels like this one where enemies tend to come in groups of 3 to 5. As you may have noticed, I am playing through this level in soul form, at least until I make it to the boss, and that's because of that damn shove. The moment I think I'll be okay without a shield, they decide to pull that one out. And I definitely wouldn't want to make things worse by shifting world tendency towards black. Alright, once I get back to where I was, I buy the war pick off the filthy woman as well as any other wares that I can afford. From here, I go back up to get the Ring of Magical Dullness for when we'll need some extra magic defense. Then we're off to the Leechmonger. But first, I need to choose a weapon. And the one I chose was the Blessed Mace +1 we can get on the other side of the shortcut bridge near the boss arena. I might as well spend all my money just in case I lose it all, so I use it to get a decent supply of black turpentine before the filthy woman moves to a less convenient location. At soul level 1, we have to two-hand the mace to use it, but that's fine because I typically don't use the one-handed moveset of hammers anyway. Damage is okay. It wasn't crazy enough to cancel out the healing completely, but since this is a blessed weapon, we are also healing and canceling out a good portion of the damage over time from the leeches, so I guess it's fair. In the end, the mace was faster, so we didn't have to waste too much time on the healing gimmick. From here, we'll start clearing out the Stonefang Tunnel as we make our way to the first Archdemon, but first, we'll buy some Sharpstone from the Filthy Man to upgrade the short spear we'll be taking with us. We don't need to upgrade it too much for just the first part of the level. Most of the enemies in this level are vulnerable to pierce or thrust damage, so its damage will still be decent regardless of its upgrade level. As I clear out the area, I try to kill all of the sack wielders I find to start stocking up on upgrade materials. Even if I will be duping in this run, I still need to have the things I want to dupe in my inventory. Without the Thief's Ring, I need to be extra careful around the dogs in this level. The spear is really good for dealing with the miners hiding in the narrow tunnels. I can poke them a bit to get them out of their hiding spot and kill them before they get a chance to ambush me. The pickaxe is another good weapon for a soul level 1, so I'll pick that up in case I want to use it later. Alright, let's pull that lever so we can activate the lift shortcut. Once that's done, we can continue what we were doing and start making our way over to Armor Spider. The short spear is really a lifesaver in this section with the fire lizards. These guys can be a pain to deal with since getting close to them will damage you, but with a spear, you don't have to get close. It's weird to play through these levels without the Thief's Ring. It makes you forget how far the enemy aggro range really is. These dogs were already making their way up the ramp to kill me while I was occupied with the lizards, but thankfully the spear has a ridiculous hitbox that somehow skewers 3 dogs at once. The rest of the level mostly consists of turning a couple more handles. Then we'll finally get to challenge the area boss. Since the boss is weak to pierce damage already, I decided to save my sticky white stuff as we clearly are doing enough damage on our own. As usual, I get her a little below half health before she does the first fire blast, and after that I simply run back through the tunnel and finish the fight within a minute or two. We've got a lot of work to do before we're ready for the Flame Lurker. Our first task is to defeat Patch's trap and claim the rewards. I brought along the Crescent Falchion so the bear bug won't take a million years to kill, since it's weak to magic damage and all. As a little bonus, it also can be bled out, and while it's a small amount of damage over time, it is much appreciated nonetheless. Now for our rewards. First, we'll get the Ring of Flame Resistance, and of course we'll also pick up the club that Patches was trying to trap us with. I've got some souls to spend, so why not buy some large shards from the Filthy Man while I'm down here as well. The last thing I need to do is get the Dragon Longsword from the tunnels. Then we can leave for now and start preparing for the fight. Out of all the physical damage types, the Flame Lurker is weakest against blunt damage, so I'll take the Morning Star we got back in 5-1 and upgrade it to +7. And last but not least, let's get our Catalyst out of storage and buy Water Veil for some extra fire defense. I find it funny how even without the Thief's Ring, he still can't see you if you don't move from in front of the fog gate. Obviously, I'll be taking advantage of this weakness of his to apply all my buffs. For this fight, I don't want to be locking on too much because I don't want to restrict my rolling directions, so what I try to do is roll around his sides and lock on only when I intend to attack him. When my turn is over, I release my lock and try to dodge around him again. This fight is always inconsistent for me. While I try to avoid dodging into him because of his AoEs, sometimes dodging into him lets me roll through his legs and avoid damage. Anytime I performed a frame-perfect dodge like that, it was an accident and I couldn't replicate it. Most of the time, rolling into him was not a good idea. As soon as Water Veil ran out and he became more enraged, a single mistake could cost the run, so I tried to top off my health with Crescent Grass no matter how unnecessary it seemed. The Ring of Flame Resistance was the only thing keeping me alive at this point. When he starts glitching out and doing nothing, that's your chance to wail on him before he snaps out of it. I got very greedy here and almost got flung straight into a lava pool, but somehow I was able to do this without dying, and the next fight is much easier, so why don't we go ahead and get it out of the way. The Dragon God is a good fight to use our club on. Since it can't be upgraded, we don't have to worry about wasting a good weapon here. As you know, I've died to this with the Thief's Ring, so I really need to contain my urge to rush through and be as patient as I can. If I hear a roar, I stop attacking debris and hide. I won't try to push my luck this time. I wasn't trying to push my luck, but luck found its way to me in this fight regardless. After I broke the first pile of debris, he got angry and broke all of the debris in front of it, so I had a cleared out path to the first ballista without having to play hide and seek. The second part is a little easier since he'll be in pain from the wound, giving us extra time to make it across before he notices us. At this last part, I think it's better to keep running after the roar. Once you make it to the stairs, you should be too far away for any of his attacks to reach you. Now for the easy part. All we have to do is put him out of his misery. To save time, I put on Water Veil so I can tank through the fire and keep attacking. After a few minutes, we've slain our first Archdemon of the run and got a pure Dragonstone in the process. Using the Dragonstones we've already collected, we can go back to the Nexus to dupe them with Thomas. They can also be farmed legitimately from bear bugs, but with the way item drops work in this game, it would literally take a whole day, if not more, to get all the chunks I need. Once we've done that, we'll turn in the Flame Lurker's soul so Ed can upgrade our Dragon Longsword. Dragon Infusion is a good choice for a Soul Level 1 run, since it removes stat bonuses and replaces it with high base damage, as a Soul Level 1 build can't benefit much from scaling anyway. A strong weapon like this would only go to waste in one of the easier areas, so I'm using it to help me get through the Shrine of Storms since the enemies here can be tough to get past. Reluctantly, I let Patches kick me down into the pit. If I don't, he won't come back to the Nexus, and he's my best grass supplier, so I can't have that. Once I, beat his trap again, I get back on track and start heading deeper into the tomb. In order to get past the enemies, we'll need to do a lot of trickery. We can take advantage of the skeleton's aggression and get them to roll off the cliff. For the first one, just vault back up and hug the flagpole, and the skeleton should roll off trying to catch you. The second skeleton will also roll off if you stop at roughly the pointed aggros. Just keep your shield up throughout this process so you don't get sniped by any manta rays on your way down. The ghosts are actually pretty easy to deal with. I just spammed soul remains and was able to get through them without too many issues. I thought that maybe being in body form without the Thief's Ring would make this fight at least a little more challenging than usual, but the old hero still didn't seem to hear me very well. It didn't help that he kept trying to do his AoE. It's a lot weaker than it looks, so it's basically a free punish every time. The fire damage worked really well here, and the fight as a whole took less than a minute. I didn't even take a single hit. The Storm King will actually be a little more difficult for a Soul Level 1 character, mainly because of its minions. I have to zigzag my way across the arena to get the Storm Ruler. Once I get it, I have to zigzag my way back to the safe spot behind the building. The rest of the fight consists of me poking out of my hidey hole for a few seconds at a time to kill manta rays until I finally get the boss to come down. I forgot how close you need to be with this. I think it's been a while since I actually used the Storm Ruler for this. There we go. That's another Archdemon down. I'd say it's about time we went to the third Archstone. For this part, I don't need much more than a humble short sword. Once it's upgraded to +7, it'll be fine for the Fool's Idol. Since I have nothing to spend all my money on, I went out of my way to buy the upgrade materials I need from the Filthy Man in both of his locations. The short sword is one of the few weapons a Soul Level 1 character can wield in one hand, which is good for this level because the thrust is often the only way I can hit the Mind Flayers in these narrow corridors. There's another weapon I can wield in one hand that I can pick up here, and that is the Secret Dagger. We'll be using it pretty soon. As weak as we are, it's a good idea to get some better armor since we have the Ring of Great Strength to boost our max equip load. I should be able to wear most of the fluted set and even mix it with a few pieces of light armor without heavy rolling. You know what? I sort of feel like living on the edge today. Fine, I won't do it. Excuse me for trying to be a risk taker. Guess I have to go around like a coward. Oh yeah, that means I'll be needing a symbol of my cowardice. Better take the ring then. Let's kill the Necromancer before I forget. And I suppose I'll take out the Crossbow Phantom too. The less things in my way, the better. For some reason I can never react to the first swing of her dagger to parry it. But when I block the first hit and then parry the second one, it's much easier. I still don't want to risk catching the plague and getting comboed, so I'll stick with backstabs, because those are ridiculously easy to get in this game. The Fool's Idol is also ridiculously easy, even at Soul Level 1, though I will admit her magic can be a little scary with such low health, but thankfully I remembered to put on the Ring of Magical Dullness. While I was in here, I picked up the Baby's Nail just for the hell of it, but it's a really terrible weapon, so I highly doubt I'll be using it for anything. There wasn't much to say about this fight. I made a few mistakes and got caught in a couple traps here and there, but overall it was a standard encounter with the Fool's Idol, and it was as if I weren't underleveled at all. Let's start getting a scimitar ready for the next part of the tower. +7 is as far as we can take it for now. That should be fine for the enemies in this level. From here, we can go through with our usual routine, starting by gently persuading Yurt to give us the Gloom set, so we'll have some fashion when we're going through the swamp. The scimitar is another weapon we can use with one hand since it's a dex scaling weapon, and this is pretty useful when we're dealing with the man centipedes. They tend to come in groups, so it's a good idea to keep my shield up just in case one of them tries to jump on me from behind. They don't seem very threatening, but their damage should not be taken lightly when our health is this low. I like the flexibility the scimitar has in this run. Sometimes I choose to two-hand it for the extra damage in cases where blocking isn't that important, like against these mostly stationary gargoyles. Of course, taking the time to kill them made me miss my stop, but it's okay. This is just part of my training in patience. For the man-eaters, I wouldn't say patience is something you use, but rather that the fight forces upon you when they take their sweet time flying a few laps around the arena. Once one of them actually lands, I feel like the fight is rushing you more than it's encouraging patience, since there's a constant pressure to kill the first one in time to prevent it from becoming a gank fight. Thank God I didn't put my grindstones in storage this time. The scimitar isn't the most durable weapon out there, so I should have expected that it would start to break sometime during this fight. Although locking on isn't always beneficial in this game, I did use it for the first man-eater, so I could focus on cutting off his tail to restrict his moveset. That also makes him less likely to hang around in the air and waste my time. Stocking up on all that black turpentine was done for this fight and this fight alone. This fight is the original DPS check of the Soul series, so I want to be sure I pass it. There were a couple of moments that made my stomach drop when I was fighting this, but by some miracle I managed to avoid death every time and did this in one go. I think the secret dagger would be good against an NPC, since we'll be relying on critical hits. So let's upgrade it and take care of the old monk. I have plenty of black turpentine to go around, so now it won't take 20 minutes just to kill everything in front of the boss. Also, on a weapon like the dagger with a really high DPS, you can use the fire to stun lock the mind flayers before their hyper armor kicks in. Now, about that patience I said I was building up, this is a fight where I'll actually get to utilize it. The old monk attacks very quickly, so I'm not going to risk it trying to parry him. Instead, I'll circle around him with my shield up and fish for backstabs. I can take maybe 1 or 2 slashes at him with the dagger to get him to do something, but if I attack him too much, I'll get parried, which will absolutely result in my death, so let's not do that. It's kind of funny how I'm used to the stricter window for backstabs and keep overcompensating by doing a full circle around him every time. I almost forgot to put on my magic defense ring for this. That would have been bad. You can see that even when I get clipped by just 1 or 2 projectiles, it is taking a decent chunk out of my health. Thankfully, this guy can't punish for shit and decides to do a charged attack right in front of my face. Thanks for the free buff, loser. There we go. That wasn't so bad. I took my time waiting for backstab opportunities, and it paid off. Let's see, for the Valley of Defilement, we want something like the Winged Spear. That way, we don't have to touch the enemies to fight them and catch all their diseases. For the most part, I'll try to avoid the enemies in this level and sneak around them the best I can without the Thief's Ring. However, trying to avoid the Island of Depraved Ones makes the encounter with this phantom unavoidable. So we'll be forced to fight her up close and personal on this tiny piece of land. Thankfully, Black Turpentine is OP, so I could burn her to death before she gets another chance to use her Meat Cleaver hyper armor. From here, I'll carefully skirt around the left edge of the island to reach the first fog gate without alerting the depraved ones. I'd much rather take my chances with the poison swamp than the mosquitoes, so once I make it to the wooden platform, I jump off the first chance I get before those little demons catch wind of my blood. Today, we're running straight to the boss, no getting the shortcut nonsense. I don't want to risk it with those mosquitoes. I don't know how in the world I survived the journey here, but I did it. Now that I'm in the safety of the boss arena, I have nothing else to worry about. I can put on that black turpentine and stab away. What's Stinky over here gonna do about it? So like I was saying, I didn't get the shortcut. I just don't get how I could get through a whole playthrough without dying to a single boss until the dirty Colossus of all things. Well, it's done now. There's no use getting worked up over it at this point. I need to move on. The Crescent Falchion's been helping me get through a lot of levels, but I still haven't used it against a boss. So now's as good a time as any to start upgrading it to prepare for Garl Vinland. Crescent weapons require Dark Moon stones to upgrade. The shard version can be purchased from Blige, while the chunks are only obtainable from lizards or from farming the Reapers. I wasn't lucky enough to get any chunks, so of course I'm going to dupe them once I get at least one in my inventory. There's one lizard that drops them if you go through the illusory wall that leads to the White Bow. I'd recommend finding a good place to kill it first, and then quitting out before it despawns or falls off a cliff. It can be tricky to catch this one with the manta rays already shooting at you. Once those are all duped, we can upgrade it to +4. I didn't manage to get any pure Dark Moon Stone for a +5. Even though I'm keeping buffs to a minimum in this run for a little more of a challenge, I decided to take a risk for this fight and let him get me into Rat Ring range. Our damage is good, but not super insane. I've parried him to death many times by now, so I don't get as nervous as I used to. I always look forward to flinging him aside like the little pest he is. Go on, hurry up and die. I don't have enough health to wait around all day. Now that we're finally going to the last section of the Boletarian Palace, we can prepare one of our finest weapons for the occasion, that being the War Pick. At this point in the game, I would like to upgrade it past +6, but I don't have any chunks. Luckily, there is a conveniently placed lizard at the start of the inner ward that drops just the kind of chunks we need. Once our War Pick is good and upgraded, we're all set. Perhaps we're even ready to challenge Doran again? Please? Never mind, we've made it to the end without that ring and we've been doing just fine. It's just that I have some bad memories of this area from my first Soul Level 1 attempt that I gave up on several years ago. This is the part of the game that made me give up. Things are different now. I'm too far gone to feel the pain anymore. I'm also going to cheat a little and throw some soul remains to distract the Red-Eyed Knights. It's funny how they can one-shot me, but the Penetrator can't. Of course, I could never forget the old adage, "Ha ha, the Penetrator is weak to sticky white stuff," so I brought mine along to buff the War Pick. The War Pick is one of the weapons that has a sweet spot for extra damage, so while it would benefit from the Master's Ring, I don't want to reduce my other damage since I probably won't always hit the sweet spot anyway. I'm fine with having a little surprise damage every now and then. It's not like I need much help for this fight. I only ever got hit once. Once the last of the King's Demon Knights is vanquished, we can start preparing a weapon to face the old king himself. I haven't gotten to use a bow yet at all in this run, so I think I'm going to bring out the short bow for this. First, let's buy some arrows off of Patches, then get ourselves into Rat Ring range to start our hunt for hard stone chunks. If we're lucky, one of the mini crystal lizards in 2-2 will drop one for us, which of course we will then proceed to dupe. In order to upgrade it to max level, I also need to pick up the pure hardstone from the crystal lizard nest. After killing a few of the crystal lizards in a few different places, I finally got one. And you know what? We're almost done with the game, so why don't we have a little fun and try out hyper mode just once. This means we'll make the Morian Blade, which has the same effect as the Clever Rat's Ring, which will stack multiplicatively for a 140% total damage boost. Everything in this level will one-shot us, but since the Buckler doesn't absorb all of the physical damage it blocks, we can use this flaw to our advantage to get our health to 30%. While the 140% damage boost sounds huge, in our case it's sort of underwhelming since the short bow has low damage as it is. So all it means for us is that it's doing the amount of damage you'd expect a +10 melee weapon to be doing at this point. Since I don't have the Thief's Ring, I can either take the risk and fight all the enemies on the way up the staircase, or try to run past them anyway. Thankfully, once you make it out to the bridge, the Red-Eyed Knight will lose interest. The Fat Official, on the other hand, can still see you and will shoot you with a fireball, so pay attention. In hyper mode, the dragon is less of a pain to kill. What normally takes over 10 minutes of shooting was condensed into only 3 minutes. So now if I die, the world tendency should shift back towards white, though I don't know how much of a difference that will actually make. I guess we'll find that out when we inevitably die to Old King Alant. When the fight starts, I take a little test shot just to see how it goes. So far, so good, even with the damage drop-off from shooting from so far away. Despite the fact that we are in hyper mode, the damage isn't anything ridiculous. In fact, I'd say hyper mode is the only way this bow would be capable of doing yellow damage. Since we're fighting with a bow, we mostly want to keep a good distance away from him. This means that he'll keep spamming the same 2 attacks. He'll either try the AoE or the Charge Slash. The Charge Slash can be tricky to dodge since it's a little glitchy at times, but I think I've finally gotten the timing down. It seems to be very consistent if you roll slightly later than you'd expect. Now you just have to hope he doesn't run into anything and throw off the timing. I did die once, but I got pretty close to doing this on the first try, so by my second attempt I had built up all the confidence I needed to kill him without getting hit. And you know, I may or may not have exploited his AI by getting him caught in a loop. As for Alant's true form, I brought along a humble battle axe and buffed it with black turpentine to make the fight go by faster. This is more of a cutscene than a fight. With that being said, I took a couple of hits here and I considered healing to be safe. But what would that say about me if I didn't have the confidence to beat true King Alant with low health? And so, I finished him like a true warrior would, fearless and with renewed purpose, as I set out to allow the old one to fall back into a deep slumber. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I always appreciate all of the ideas you give me in the comments, and for those who wanted a Demon Souls Soul Level 1, I hope you enjoyed what you got. As always, feel free to leave me suggestions for future videos, but if you don't have any, that's okay too. If you want to see even more challenge runs like this, you can take a look at my channel for even more videos about Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Elden Ring. Have fun, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat this stuff even if I was in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Oh hi! You're probably confused by today's upload and, well, to be quite honest with you, you should be.
Come on, take some damage.
To help you with that confusion, I'm going to basically explain the entire premise of the video as easily and as simply as I can. Basically, what we're gonna do here is quite similar to a video series done by Settled, or even just like some of the videos done by Ambiguous Amphibian in various games, where you will take the premise of limiting your movement to a set of preset tiles, in which you get an extra tile every time you get a kill. This is a very cool premise in Project Zomboid and RuneScape and other games like that, but it doesn't exactly work in Fallout 4 because Fallout 4 doesn't have a grid-like system. In fact, it doesn't even have any tiles. So I was sat there one night thinking it would make a great video, but it possibly couldn't be done, and I just messaged Red Yeti, you know, the guy who makes my mods, to which he got back saying I was absolutely stupid. And then the next day, he got back with a fully functioning tile mod. Say hello to the Fallout 4 tiles, what is basically just a retextured floor prefab with a nice green outline to look like a tile. So, cool, we have the mod made, that's step 1. Step 2 is setting the rules. And to be honest, I think the rules are quite fair. First of all, the tiles have to be placed in somewhat of a grid-like formation. As long as the tiles are touching, or from a bird's eye point of view, they look like they're touching, then that's okay for me. Also, I can't just pick up a tile once it's placed. If a tile is put down, I can't pick it back up, because then I would just simply have 2 tiles and I'd be able to finish the game just by juggling them. On top of this, if I want to access an interior cell, all I have to do is put down the tiles by the front entrance, and as long as I don't come out the other side where there is no tiles, I'm a-okay. This is simply because interior cells wouldn't function if I had to put down tiles literally everywhere. And last but not least, I have to start the challenge run with 100 tiles, so it's at least feasible that I can complete the game. Because in order for this challenge run to actually work, I need to be able to leave Sanctuary in order to, you know, farm kills for tiles, because otherwise I'd be stuck in Sanctuary with roughly 10 bugs that don't respawn. And with that being said, I took the standard special stats of having high endurance, high intelligence for extra health and extra experience while playing the game, and then ventured out into the wasteland. The challenge basically started as soon as my wife was killed and I left Vault 111 with 100 tiles in hand and 1 mission. Today, I'll be trying to get to Diamond City.
That's our first tile. So these tiles are not going to be stuck together, people that don't know, because they don't work that way, because we need to be able to go up and down. Okay, like that. This is a very stupid concept. I am fully aware about how stupid this concept is, and that people think this is dumb. I get it. It is a stupid concept. I think it's funny, and I think you guys might enjoy it. So now we need to get on the opposite side of the river at Lego City Sanctuary. We need to get on the opposite side of the river. Okay, that is it. That's all we got to do. It shouldn't take us too long, but we'll see. And if the mod breaks and I have to, you know, do some hot fixing, that's also fine. If I happen to step off a tile, it's not the end of the world. But the whole premise is I need to be able to move backwards through the tiles, so I can go like this, right? Why can't you go straight? Because it needs to be a set of stairs. I need to be able to maneuver back up, otherwise I won't be able to go back in Vault 111. So I have to make my way down slowly, otherwise this entire run is fraud. You guys don't want me to be a fraudster, do you? You guys want me to start my own NFT thing? The XP isn't... I'm not supposed to be getting XP for building these, but whatever. We survive. We move on. We thrive. Ooh, also, there's a free tile in here. Watch this. You guys see that little guy? Boom. Extra tile. I do need to get the workshop, though, so let's do that real quick. Hopefully, you guys get the premise of the video now. Okay, can I interact from there? Yeah! Let's go. All right, so now we can interact with things from that. I can actually access the workbench, which means we can scrap stuff now for resources. Ooh, can I grab this? I can. Let's go. You can carry a bench and use it as storage. I can. I can take that bench wherever I want. Also, I need to build a bed. This is my life now. You guys like my little home? This is my bed. This is where I sleep, sit, rest, contemplate life. And this is my workshop where I get to upgrade my weapons so they can have a longer barrel so I have more range. Also, we're gonna make sure to do a drive-by of this little house here, because this little house potentially has free blowflies in it, which means free more tiles.
So after finally clearing out all of the insects in the sanctuary, I decided to head southeast across the river to make my way towards a spawn point. I'm not talking about Red Rocket because the mole rats there don't actually respawn. Instead, there are mole rats situated just a little bit east that actually have a respawn rate of every day. So we're heading over that way to make sure to kill those guys off so we can constantly farm them for tiles. And also, while you watch me build this bridge across the river, you should subscribe to the channel. And if you already are subscribed, check out the memberships tab. We recently just opened it up and I think you guys aren't going to be disappointed.
Hell yeah. Thank you for watching the challenge run. That is us. We have finished the challenge run. No, now we need to go respawn the enemies. So like I said, enemies respawn every day. It takes a week for enemies to respawn naturally. I've changed that to a day. And interior cells refresh every week instead of every 20 days. What happens if you step off a tile? If I step off a tile, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Just end the stream? If I step off a tile, I just jump back on. And we just go, okay, oopsie. I mean, I could do like should I gift a sub every time I step off a tile? I can do that. I should be able to go back to my bed, save, like sleep for a day, and then there should be a dog and a rad stag that spawns at the bottom of that hill, like was before. Getting out of Sanctuary is going to take 10 hours. If this works, getting out of Sanctuary should only take a couple of hours, but if it doesn't work, it's going to take us ages. Oh my god, they're dodging me. No Codsworth. There should be 3 in that house, but whatever. We got 2 tiles. Don't think this respawning mod is working, because the rad stag's still dead there. I can kind of see it there. There's a bunch of mole rats. I saw one there. Oh, something's coming towards me. Get out of here. Jesus Christ. It's gonna be sick when you have a sniper plus floating bridge over the entirety of downtown. That's what I'm thinking. Once I get to the point where I can have enemies respawning at a good rate and I can actually start like farming them, it'll be as simple as just like walking around, killing people, and then putting down more tiles and unlocking the entirety of the map. I mean, this is a really cool mod, and I think that if you think this is gonna be boring, then you're probably you're too stuck in the idea of the early game. The late game of this idea is really fun, and the fact that I have to use the tiles in like a convincing manner is only gonna restrict me more. What ending are we going for? I don't know if we could end the game at this point. This could last me all the way up till Starfield.
Can you just build a beacon for citizens, just kill them as they come?
Yes, I could do that. That is a really good idea. If I ever get the resources for it, I will do such a thing. So I need crystal, ceramic. Oh, god damn it, man. I can put down 1 generator, so that's good. I just need 2 ceramic and 2 crystal. That's all I need. 2 crystal and 2 ceramic, and we can start recruiting people. Oh, it respawned! They respawned! It's a shame killing them is really hard. I got 1 tile, but the most important metric from this isn't the ragstag or the dog, it's the mole rats. If I can get the mole rats to consistently fight with me, poggers. Next issue is ammo. Yep, I know. I need to either get crystal or I need to get 10mm ammunition. One of the two. But for now, I can probably just, if I get close enough to the mole rats, I should just be able to engage with them without shooting at them. Yeah, I need to get over there. That's where the basement is. I said that's what we use our tiles for. Yeah, I don't think the ragstag is worth killing. That was like all my ammunition. The problem is there's also like raiders that spawn over that hill.
If Jobbo gets killed by an enemy, does that enemy get a tile?
Yes. If I'm killed by an enemy, the enemy gets a tile, and they have to place down the tile, and then their adventure begins. Okay, I missed. How the f did those 2 shots miss? Can someone go back and slow down the footage? Skill issue? Yo, Rad Stag, do you want to come over here and fight me, or do you want to stand over there? Oh, are you I thought he was squaring up. He made all the noise and everything, like he was gonna start fighting me. Oh, okay, all right. Come on then. You want to sit there and shout your shit? Come here. That's what I thought, dude. We got 3 tiles. That's great. Oh my god, you're pissing me off. Go away. You made me use all my ammo now. Good job, dude. All right, chat. We're gonna start expanding. We're gonna start expanding in this direction. Progress. Okay, this dog is actually annoying me with how hard it is to kill. Shit. All right, well that's a gifted sub right there. So that's great. I fell off the fucking thing.
So it was around about this time that I had the idea of killing off settlers in Sanctuary, and in order to do that, I need, well, settlers. And the only way to do that is to recruit them using the recruitment beacon. Now, unfortunately, one of the resources needed for a recruitment beacon is that of crystal, and there is only one spawn point for that in Sanctuary, and that's in the cellar. So after getting it first try, we built the recruitment beacon, and, well, we started farming settlers.
Oh! Shit, we got it! Alright, let's build our recruiting station. There we go. Look at that! Right, here's the bell. Do I have anyone here? We have one person in Sanctuary, and I think it's Codsworth. Hello! Come here! Come here, come here, come here, come here. Hey, dude! What do we do with him? Should I keep him as a pet?
Can we trade a few things?
He just gave me his weapon! God, this guy really wants to make it easy for me. Oh my god, his health. Oh, he's fighting back. Oh, he's got some fight in him. Oh, you think you can take on the tile man in his own environment, huh? The tile system? In the arms of an angel, fly away. Okay, we got his ammo. We got his weapon. It's kind of what's important right now. We have 2 weapons now. Oh, another settler. Hey, bro, just go there, man. You're good.
Have it your way.
Okay, I'm just gonna melee him. I'm gonna rob him. He's killing me. He's actually killing me. There's no way I lose to settler number 1. Oh! Please don't run away. He made it harder for himself. So basically, we have this recruitment beacon that's just gonna keep recruiting people that we kill. I mean, actually, I can fast travel to Vault 111 because the tiles are right there. Uh-oh. Okay, so that's an extra sub. I'm gonna have to build a pathway to the fast travel point, which is there. I owe you guys a sub. This is taking forever! Can you use the cage to farm tiles? I can. Yes. We'll see if we can craft any cages. We can build an insect cage. Should we do these? Why not, right? How much does this generate? Free? Okay. Well, we kill them all. We kill them all, right? So we get the meat. We use the meat to get insects, and we get more. I think it's working out, chat. Hell yeah! Don't worry, you're fine. I won't bother you. No, you're fine, dude. Chat, we've made it on top of the hill. Holy shit, we're making progress. This challenge run's actually working out. We're getting there. Civilization. Oh my god. Yo, Radstag. Yeah, you're good, bro. Don't worry about you. I think I'm wasting ammo. I say we go this way. We split this path this way because there's raiders over this hill, and I would like to kill them. We should rename the Radstag. So what do you want to call her? Skippy? Love you, Skippy. We'll call her Skippy. What's up, Skippy? How you doing? All right, see you later, Skippy. All right, nice. We're in range where I don't have to shoot anymore. That's perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. There's a magnum over there. There is a magnum over there, and over this hill there's a bunch of enemies. Once we have this, we literally should be getting like 8 kills per reset, and then we're golden. Oh, we got 2 settlers. Oh, the insects have. Oh, Chad, the insects. What the fuck? Help! That is bull. That's not fair. Did you just take my kill? Really, dude? You just take my kill. I think the other settlers killed the other insect. Please. Dude, the pistol's right there. Come on. Bro. You guys see it? Summer shots. Can we take the summer shots? You know, I didn't really expect it to look that shit. I think I'm just gonna go back. Oh, it's 2 charisma, actually. I'll keep it for whenever I have to vend with someone. Okay, there's a bunch of raiders around this corner. There they are. Oh my god. This is actually kind of scary. This is the first bit of actual combat we've had. Alright, we got one. I guess the extra tiles? I don't know though, because we don't really get any ammo from them. But the tiles might help us get close to them. Build over there. Right, mid-combat building, let's go. Right. We didn't get the loot, but we got the tiles. Any builders? We like Fortnite. We like Fortnite. Alright, this is the direction we want to go in for actual progress, and that's the direction we want to make for tile progress. Oh, insects are being caught. Let's do that as well. Oh, there's a guy at Sanctuary too. Alright, I think my settlement system's bugged. Oh, nope, never mind. They just want releasing. Oh. He's bugged out. Good one. Yeah, these insects are gotta go. Alright, let's just kill it. If any of these guys take my kill, I'm gonna be so angry. Wait. 44 rounds respawn every time, and so does the snub-nose. Oh my god, and so there's rataways.
So after clearing out the mole rats and eventually getting enough tiles to make it all the way east to the raiders and their small little camp, we can use these guys to farm kills for tiles, but also to get their weapons and armor for loot. But more importantly, they drop ammunition.
Just wanted to trade a few things.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Alright, don't you dare make a fuss about this. Hey, big boy, come over here. I got a present for you. Like, see, we're getting quite a lot of tiles now. We have 9 available. This is actually going really well. I'm surprised at how decent this entire challenge run has been. Ooh, this dog's went a different way. Where's he going? Is he going after the right? No, you better not kill Skippy. Yo, leave Skippy alone, man. Come here. Come here. Save Skippy. I'm trying. This guy's a slimy bastard. Come here. Yeah, that's what I thought, bitch. Pull out your gun and shoot it. No, we're saving ammunition. God, dude, leave him alone. Poor Skippy's getting just run down. God damn, Skippy ain't gonna survive the night, chat. I think he's dead.
Think you can hide?
Okay, I say we go from Red Rocket from here. How many tiles till the game crashes? Okay, I actually don't know if the game can handle how many tiles the game can handle, so we'll cross that hurdle when we get to it. Ooh, mysterious red container, chat. Let's have a look what's inside the chest. Duct tape. And we don't have any like hunting rifle or sniper rifle or anything, but the ammo box is gonna be useful. And if they reset, that'll be great.
So this is another point in the run where I get to show off how grueling and kind of tiresome it can be, because in order to get the red rocket, I have to go through so many farming cycles. But eventually, after killing off so many enemies and getting, well, so many tiles, I was able to pave my way all the way to red rocket and finally say hello to Dogmeat.
Chat, I swear to God, we're gonna get red rocket done today. I can't believe it. With all this work, what we've done is essentially drew a line like this that goes all the way over there, and then comes back here. And that's it. And we have how much map? I thought this challenge room would take like 3 days. So this is the progress we've made so far. Look at that, dude. Damn, we've came so far. All right, look at this, chat. This is what we've tiled so far. This is mad. Look at this. We started at Vault 111. We started up here at Vault 111. We tiled a pathway down and across into Sanctuary. This is the path we've got. We unlocked the secret little hidden bunker around the back, and then we swerved our way through, all the way through Sanctuary, across the river. The dog spawns there. Up here we have a bunch of mole rats. Raiders spawn over there. And then we have a pathway that gets all the way back to Red Rocket. Look at that. As you can see, the pathway we've carved out is quite something. You can kind of see it. Look at that. That's mad. Actually, quick question. Oh my god, can you quit spawning? Jesus Christ. If I kill the mole rats atop here, right? Like here, they don't spawn underground, do they? I can't remember if they do. I'm gonna see if I can get to Concord and do the Museum of Freedom quest. And you might be thinking that shouldn't take too long. This entire playthrough takes ages with tiles. It's like this process is just draining. You guys don't understand. It's such a slow process. This entire thing is like intentionally really slow. But it's actually quite fun. Oh yeah, by the way, people that don't know, we killed dog meat so we get the extra tile. It was worth it. I don't think he wants anything to do with us now. Considering he's dead. Alright, so this is fine. This counts, right, chat? We all agree.
So at the start of day 2, I decided to actually go into the mole rat den. I wasn't going to do it at first because I thought it'd be a waste of tiles, but it turns out it actually wasn't, because the enemies there actually respawn every 3 days, which is beneficial to us because that's just extra tiles that we can loot.
Oh, we found Concord! Chat, we made it to Concord. This is huge. Look, I can touch the speed limit sign. I touched it. Now we have to go all the way back. I mean, this is good progress. It does mean I can fast travel to Concord, but I don't have any tiles there when I land, so I'd have to gift subs every 2 seconds. Hey, bro. Give me this, give me that, give me that, give me that. Go on. You can leave. I'll give you another chance. You monster. Dog meat! Yeah, I didn't kill dog meat. I lied. No! He despawned! Oh my god! Oh my god! He's probably dead now. Alright, here we go, boys. Well, we kind of made it. I can see them. I hit one of them. He's coming over! I'm so excited. He's coming over. I'm so nervous. What do I do? Do I kiss him? Oh, it's a girl. Ugh, never mind. You leveled up too. You have 1 hour left at work. Can you kill a Deathclaw by then? No, it ain't happening, Chief. All right, come on, get up. Speedrun it for them? What, you want me to speedrun me getting to the Deathclaw in the next hour? Chat, I think it's time we did a prediction. I'm full steam ahead if we're gonna make this happen. I'm full steam ahead. I'm just gonna farm them, and then I'm gonna we're just gonna do the quest. We're just gonna full steam ahead and see if it works.
Through the non-stop grind of just killing off enemies for tiles, we actually managed to get some pretty good loot, but it was time to head towards Concord, and fortunately for me, well, I remembered to clear out the mole rats from underneath Red Rocket, and with a few extra runs of farming enemies, we were close.
We get into Concord today, boys. Yeah, right down the fucking street, boys. How did that miss? Jesus Christ. Oh, I bet you guys are actually angry. I'm gonna put 1 and then 2 there. Holy shit, dude. The aim is so bad. I don't know what's going on. Intense combat section. See, my aim isn't that bad. Please, my money. I'm taking my time. I'm walking fast, and face is past, and I'm homebound. But dibba dibba dibba, and you guys can get over it. There's 12 minutes left, and I'll take my sweet ass time. Yeah, we finally made it to Preston's. All the way to Preston.
You are so dead.
Please stop. Thank you. If I overdose Mama Murphy, do I get a tile? I guess there's only one way to find out, isn't there? If I exit an interior cell and I'm outside, I touch the ground, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. There's no way that counts. There, look, I put down my tile. You would say it counts? Wait, so you're telling me because I've had to go through this that I owe you guys a gifted sub? Do you not understand what I've been through? Okay, I owe you guys 2 because he stepped off. He stepped off. Okay, it is very hard, by the way, so I do have to be kind of careful. Let's get this done, boys! Let's go! He just despawned. Come on, take some damage. I don't think the Deathclaw can path to me. Is this cheating? I don't think the Deathclaw can properly path. Deathclaw! Woohoo! Come here. Oh, here he is. He's back. You can get on here. It's like an inch, man. Ah! Ah! Please! Back off! I'm warning you! Woo! We did it! Do these guys respawn every time? Oh, they do. How did I fucking miss that shot? There was two of them just stood there. God, I'm so bad at video games, man. When I played a game of BattleBit with, like, Juve and Mickey D, and they can vouch for me, I was really good. Like, we played, right? And I did so well. I was like 40 kills, 10, 15 deaths. And they're like, oh my god, you're so good. I think they genuinely thought I was bad at games because they watched this stream. Wait, isn't he, like, live right now? One sec. I'll get proof for you guys. Was I really good at BattleBit? Answer. Come on, stop focusing on the game and just answer the question I asked. Please. Look at the chat, Juve.
72.
Bro!
We're all right.
I'm gonna be sick. He's ignored me. All right, I'll go back in like 5 minutes.
Oh, wait. Oh, Jabbo is in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope your stream went well, Jabbo.
I'm still live, dumbass. Come on.
Was I really good at BattleBit? Please, I need my chat to believe me. Oh, no. Jabbo is cracked at BattleBit. If Jabbo's chat doesn't believe him.
Thank you. And that's from a respectable member of the community, unlike me. He's a paid actor. He's not a paid actor. He's pretty cool, and he doesn't have shit aim like me. I didn't pay him off, okay? You can't pay off Juve. Do you not understand? Sometimes when you play a game over and over again, you kind of forget about these mundane things existing. I mean, who the fuck remembers the Concord access tunnels, right? But there I was. I forgot that they existed, and my chat was sat telling me about them, which is quite beneficial to me because when I was exploring the Concord tunnels, I was reminded of Gorski's cabin. And you might not know what Gorski's cabin is, but it's a small little cabin just a little bit west of Concord that has ghouls in it. And ghouls are quite important because they're one of the only enemies in the game to have a completely unlimited loot pool. Now, I don't mean they're gonna drop insane weapons or anything like that. It just means that they're gonna drop any type of junk item that's available in the game, which is really good for us because it means that we can access almost any resource in the game now by farming these ghouls over and over again. Well, we're close. We're very close to the ghouls. We don't really need the we don't need to get inside. We just need the location of the ghouls. So now that we're here, that's pretty good. This is going pretty well, though. Look at this. We got our tiles down. Who are you?
You know what I call a good day?
We got an extra tile. Back to it. Skippy, can you get the fuck out of here? This is my pathway, man. Go. Why does he look like a dog? Oh, the flopper cat. Yeah. I'm not gonna kill him, it's Skippy. We love Skippy. So after another grueling grind of farming tiles, I finally made my way to Trashcan Carla, which is fortunate because she doesn't actually activate until you talk to her. So with her now being a traveling merchant, she will come to Sanctuary a lot more and sell us goods. And fortunately for me, right next to her is Drumlin Diner. So we just unlocked 2 vendors in one go, which is useful if they sold good weapons, which they don't. Alright, so we've made it quite far, so far. I think we're doing a pretty good job. Let's see, can we snipe the Wolfgang guys from here? Wait, who are you fighting? Oh my god, wait, can I farm them? Is this illegal? I'm using an illegal technique. Oh, this is cheating. Okay, I'm not gonna do this for long. Deserved. I deserved that. Well and truly I did. Wake up, boys! This is like Groundhog Day. We are like farming the same enemies over and over again. I love how these raiders wake up to death every single day. Oh shit, I might be. Oh, I fell off. I owe you guys a sub. You fell off a long time ago, buddy. Okay, let me give this sub. Alright, we have a good pathway going. We've kind of made it to Drumlin Diner. I haven't even discovered the location, but we're nearly there. I want to at least get to Drumlin Diner today. We've not done much progress, but honestly, we have at the same time, because we've made it to 2 vendors now, which is kind of big. 2 vendors is a significant amount. Look at this, chat. We're moving. Look at this. This is amazing. Holy shit. We're actually going places. Let's do like an intense turn like this. Yeah. Oh, I'm so close. Yeah, this is mad. What a way to play the game. This is actually crazy cool. But yeah, this is cool. It gives you like a visual representation of how like we've kind of spread it out. Kind of like the CS2 smoke. How like we've crawled through all of these like little pathways and stuff. It is pretty cool. Man, are they mugging you off like that? They're just shooting you. A single raider. Alright, let's get back to it, chat. We gotta reset some enemies. Also, in order to reset the enemies, I have to go all the way into Vault 111. Wait a day. Leave Vault. It takes a while. Dude, get off the I need to this is on my tile, Sturges. Get off. You are kidding me. He refuses to move. Oh shit, dude. He's popping off. Do you know like how like researchers or whatever said that if you play Mozart for your child while they're asleep, they'll become smarter? Obviously that's just a load of bullshit, right? But what happens if you put my stream on while your child sleeps? Think they become stupid? The child does a flip. They become a rant. They have brain death. Do you know how hard that was? You guys don't understand the amount of energy that took. When you ordered Juve from Wish.com. You guys wouldn't say that to my face, I know it. Do you not just see what I just did? Metal Gear wouldn't stand a chance if I was in that game. Oh my god, do you know how much work that was? First I had to empty the cardboard box out, because I used it as a... Oh my god, how did I miss all of those shots? We used that cardboard box as a recycling bin, so I had to empty it out. And then I had to clean the bottom because there was a baked bean at the bottom. Because I had baked beans for breakfast today. I think I got baked bean juice in my hair.
By the end of day 2, we'd only made it all the way to Drumlin Diner, which is quite impressive when you actually look back at how much I've had to do, but on the grand scheme of things, it's absolutely zero progress. So at the start of day 3, this is where I started a very serious grind. My goal for today was to do 2 things. One was to tile all the way to Cavega or Lexington, where there is a ton of enemies. tiles. And the second thing I wanted to do was to make some serious progress, with my aim for today being College Square. You know, the place with all the ghouls where you first meet the Brotherhood of Steel. So with that being said, it was time to kill some enemies and place some tiles.
That should be good enough. Do I have to be up there? Are you kidding? Hello? There we go. Jesus Christ. If these guys actually work, which I think they do, as in they respawn, we should be able to, oh god, reuse them. All that for 4 rad roaches? No. All that to consistently farm 4 rad roaches. I don't have a fast travel point though. We made it to Lexington yet? We have not made it to Lexington yet. Should we go into Lexington? I feel like we should. Oh wait, if there's a chair here, I can sit down and rest in this chair for 24 hours, and then everyone up at Sanctuary should be reset. This resets our enemies, which means we don't have to go to Vault 111. Everyone shut up for a second. Everyone just shh. We'll need no reason for joy, oh yeah. You know what's funny? Ben Pye can split the audio, and he can have it just so it's me singing without the music. And I hope he doesn't do that, ever. We don't need no rhythm for joy, oh yeah. Alright, we're moving over to the mole rats that spawn over here. Oh yeah, these are harder mole rats to kill. Hello? That's a legendary. Holy shit. Oh, what did we get? Wait. Chat. We got our first legendary of the run. I need you guys to be quiet. If we get a good weapon here, this entire challenge run will be over. I think what we really need is a good combat rifle. What did we get? It's my kill count. 339 plus 308 plus 151, which is like 798, if my maths is correct. 798, which is quite a lot, actually. It's quite a lot of tiles. All right, we're going to Lexington, boys. Everybody quickly get dressed in your nicest clothes. And the sky, it makes me feel so high. The bad times pass me by. And today, it's gonna be a brighter day. Where's this next person? Are they inside this building? They are. What the fuck? Oh, we discovered Lexington. I don't know where the fast travel point is for Lexington at all. Should we go clear this out now? What do you guys think? Should we go in here now and clear it out now? Surely, like, oh my god, witch. Oh my god. Chat, you guys don't understand. He has a fat man. I got him. He's dead. I feel like everyone died to that fat man once. Like, that fat man killed you once, right? It had to. Let's go clear out Super Mud. So we have to clear out this place. I have no shotgun ammo. Holy shit, he was right there. Ooh, mining helmet. I don't have a helmet right now, do I? Yeah, let's take that then. Oh my god, the mining helmet. I completely forgot that it has like this really annoying hit by light. Oh! Wait! That's so shit. Oh, what a waste of time. Shoot it? This place has been a very, very worthwhile adventure. Not gonna lie, went pretty well. Is there any more? There's so many. Do they just keep spawning? I feel like they don't stop spawning. Because I swear I checked this corridor. That's 30 ghouls. 25-ish ghouls. What's the worst candy known to man? Reese's. Yep, I said it. No! Alright, let's go see if the inside of Super Duper is refreshed. Ooh. Here in the wild,
we can preserve and watch as the ghouls. Fuck. Oh shit.
Hello? Did one of them have a gun? Oh, is that a trap? Please tell me that was a trap. They don't have guns now. Oh my god, my aim is so shit. Oh, we've kind of like startled the entire nest, haven't we? Isn't there like a ton of them? I'm wasting tiles doing this, but I want it to look nice, okay? So I want to have the entirety of the college square. But yes, I want the entirety of this place tiled. Why? I don't know. I want college square. Holy shit, we're so close to Diamond City. Oh my god. Yeah, there we go. That's nice and smooth. Look at that. I'll even show you guys what it looks like from above. We made it to college square, boys. That's pretty cool. Bro, Skippy, chillax, man. Kill Skippy? Never. Skippy is like a child to me. How many subs to kill Skippy? You couldn't give me enough. Kill Skippy for a Scooby snack?
A worry, man. Ooh.
Right. We could probably try and make it into the train station. Not a bad idea. I kind of want to tile out the entirety of College Square though, and I don't know why. Do not knock me off the tiles. Oh my god, is this gonna work? I need to be able to get up and down this. I think I managed to make it work. Okay, can I just explain one thing to you guys? This is exactly why I don't do tiling on the interior cells. Because this is what it would be like. A mess. Oh! We got an upgrade. We got the short combat shotgun. We can drop blunderbussy. Out of here. Combat shotgun is huge. I come in peace. Yeah, shotgun's pretty good. Exactly what we needed. Combat Ussy, is that what we're gonna call this one? And we'll call this Combat Ussy when I get the chance. Alright, chat, that's my promise to you. My certified freak 7 days a week promise, okay? It's a very exclusive promise I don't break. You guys proud of me? What a waste of tiles. Look at that! College Square is mine. All mine. Me, me, me. All me. Oh, hello. Oh my god, they're all down. Oh my god, they're all down. Help. Holy shit. God damn. Right, let's keep this ball rolling. Let's keep on trucking. Did you see that? He went for a sit down. The guy, are you alright, buddy? Are you okay? I don't think he is. He was tired. All this shit's exhausting. Good progress. We have officially made it out of Lexington and through Cambridge. Look how close we are to Diamond City. Woo! Good progress today, boys. We're nearly at Diamond City. We're nearly at the city of diamonds. The great green jewel. We're so close, but yet so far. We've made it close to the MIT and the Cambridge Polymer Labs. What? How you doing, Skippy? Good morning. Look how beautiful Skippy is, dude. Those two front legs are coming along, buddy. Good job. All right, let's go see if the interior crocodile alligator of Subdupmod is ready for us. Hello? Oh, you're alive, aren't you? All right, so we have a full Super Duper mod to clear out, so that's fun. Oh my god, we got a legendary. It's not bad. It's not good either. Good legendary. I didn't come here to see this. I'm unsubbing right now. All right, let me do this real quick. I'm building myself a bridge, chat, so I have a killing platform. I missed. Watch this shot, chat. Oh! Okay. We're gonna kill this guy, and then we're gonna get across the river, and then we're gonna go to Crazy Street, okay? I'm gonna show you guys what Crazy Street is. Trust me, you guys are not ready for this. Alright, chat, so Diamond City's that way, which isn't too far away, but we're gonna go this way, and you'll see why as we do this. But, yeah, this is like, we're doing pretty good. We're so close to Diamond City. God damn, we're so close! Is there any way to pay to win? Yeah, if you guys want me to get more tiles, go join my YouTube membership program, because nobody's joined it yet. I signed up for the YouTube membership. I made it $2 a month, which is quite low. For me, it's $1.99. Okay, I lied. It's $1.99, not $2. The prices are $2, $5, $10. Yeah, those are my Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3s. The Tier 1 gets nothing. Tier 2 gets a shout-out. Tier 3 gets a bigger shout-out. Tier 3 should get a custom poem. Okay, I'll make Tier 3 like $100 a month, and then I'll give you a poem once a month. And the poem's just gonna be, hello, thank you for giving me the $100. Good riddance, legendary ghoul Roma. Did we get a good legendary? Is it good? Is it good? That's actually good! It's better than the other one we have. Look. We have 2 revolvers. Dude, look at this. 25% more damage or 10% more damage while aiming. I don't want you. Get out of here. 10% more damage. Dude, I want 25%. Are you... Excuse me. Sir. Right, that was weird. Make the music more music-y. What am I supposed to do? I don't know, dude. Is that what you want? Chat, should we tile out above them so I can kill them? I'm doing it anyways, I don't care. This is a waste. I want you to know that I'm wasting tiles. Is he still underground? Bro, you gotta be shitting me. You can't stay underwater, man. Dude, let's go! What is a tile? Is usually a porcelain or ceramic object that you place on a wall or on the floor, which is usually used to guard that wall or object or floor from any types of damages or temporary damages known as water damage and stuff like that. All right, we're gonna go to the right here, but before that, I said I'd go to Converga, didn't I? All right, let's go, boys. We're tiling. We're doing the job. All right. The floating tile is weird to allow. Wait, do you guys not like the floating tiles? I mean, the floating tile should be fine. I'm just gonna make it to the front, around there. It's fine. I like it. It's Fortnite, chat. People love Fortnite. Right? Let's do like this. And then let's do like that. We'll go clear out the basement section of this first, because the basement section has a shit ton of enemies. If I can hit you. Yeah, the basement section is definitely the best place to clear out. Isn't it, ghouls? Yep. Thank you. I don't even know how I died. Target down, sir. Enemy spotted. Let's go! Come on then. Where are you? You guys up there? Right, so more enemies should spawn as I come down. We could head to Diamond City right now, and I could probably make it in like the next hour, but we're gonna go this way. I've got a plan. Okay, you guys don't understand, but I've got a plan. It's a very good plan too. Go visit Swan. No, he's dead to me. He cheated on me, chat. I didn't want to tell you guys about it, but he cheated on me, so. Right, we're nearly there. We're gonna make it to Crazy Street. Trust me, this street is crazy. All right, this is where all the crazy shit happens. You guys are not ready for this street. Scientifically proven to be the craziest street on the planet. Oh, look, it's Crazy Street. So, this location in the game, just near Vault 87, 9, 18, 97, has constant encounters happening.